Hello, I am Daniel Bloodworth. We're Easy Allies, and this is the Easy Allies podcast. This week I'm joined by Michael Huber.
I got a headache, but I'm good.
Vonti Hoda.
Michael Damiani.
How's it going?
In the control room making it all happen, we got Isla Hink.
Hello.
Don Casanova's back there. Gabby Montucci as well.
Nice.
Just Don's arm.
Shoots into frame.
Friends, we are here to talk about what's new, what's news, and what we've been playing. There are a ton of great games out this week.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Stellar Blade. We're going to be talking about Eiyuden Chronicle. We've got Another Crab's Treasure. We got Sandland. We got Zao. And yes, there are a couple of headlines, too, that we're going to get to as well.
Settle in.
Which, the headline section is just called Embracer Group and Friends. But I think this week we're going to go through all the games first, then we'll talk about the news, and then we'll get to your questions. Review copy provided by PlayStation. Put that on the screen. Huber, we're going to start with Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
This game is sick.
Yeah, really, I'm liking it more than I expected to like it.
Yeah?
I'm, not that deep. I basically, have just gotten into the town.
Okay.
But you spend a few hours before you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of going through the streets and alleyways and just slicing up cockroach-looking freakos.
Yeah, the good freakos in this game for sure. If you didn't play the demo, the game starts with a airdrop onto the planet.
Yeah, some Asura's Wrath level, just stuff
Totally.
flying from the sky.
Totally. You play as Eve, and she is from the space colony that is coming down to reclaim the Earth, and things go awry pretty quickly, and it's basically you meet some characters along the way, and you team up to take out the Alpha Naytiba the Elder Naytiba is the main one.
Yeah, the Naytibas in general, which is the word is so silly. It's so funny because there's so many things for this game, and it's that word is it took me a couple hours to not just chuckle every time they said it.
The Naytibas.
It's ridiculous word.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that in the earlier revision it was basically just spelled natives. I'm what?
A good change, probably.
Yes, but still very silly.
Yeah.
So the combat plays, something like Devil May Cry and Sekiro style. It's big on
it's
parries,
a sort of mix
dodges.
Between the two because
Yep.
there's a lot of emphasis on parries and dodges of different kinds.
Mm-hmm. But you can hack and slash your way through as well.
Yeah, but you also have the square, triangle, square, square.
Yep,
all
combos.
That kind of little combos.
Yep. Yeah, square is attack, not R1. So
Right.
there's no souls here.
And then your skill tree, you kind of unlock different types of dodges, different types of parries.
Yeah, the skill tree's fine. It does feel good to unlock some of these skills. You do some side quests, you kill enemies, you get XP, and you put it into the skill tree. You can get a skill that makes it a little easier to parry, a little easier to dodge, or unlock additional moves and combos.
Yeah.
You have your 4 core beta moves. Those are your primary attack moves, other than traditional combos.
Yeah, they're your power moves essentially. So you got your regular weak attack, strong attack.
Yep.
And then as you're using them and parrying and everything, you kind of build up this beta energy, what they call, and then
really satisfying.
That allows you to unleash those bigger moves. And some of them are good for getting some good distance attacks or some just stronger things. One's specifically about breaking their shields because they have a shield before basically when their shield is up, you do less damage. You're still damaging their health.
Yeah.
But when the shield's down, you damage them a lot stronger. I call this thing the horse here, man.
Yeah, these things are freaks. Another thing that I love about this game, Blood, there's so many things I love this friggin' game. I just need to say that again. Some of the other reasons I love it are there's little mini puzzles around, which I really like, and stealth as well. I had no idea there was going to be like not stealth sections, but you can get like stealth moves. And if you just like sneak up behind an enemy, you can just take them out. And sometimes like later on that really helps because some areas will have...
You can take out some of those like
you can take
not
like the
strong guys, but like stronger than like the kind of mid-level guys.
Totally. So yeah, that's really cool. Just like moving around and exploring these environments is really, really top notch. The areas aren't too massive, but later on you get to a big open area style location. Damiani reminded me of Final Fantasy VI.
Like the wasteland outside of town? Because I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I was definitely going to ask you about the environments, Huber, when we get to that, because these types of games, like environments seem to be an issue with these games. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I really like them. I like the art direction of this game. You know, this like ruined. Or just like, it reminds me a little bit of like Cyberpunk. It has like a little bit of that. It'd be like if Rage was cool. Do you remember the game Rage?
I remember Rage.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's like a little bit of Rage, a little bit of Cyberpunk in there.
What's interesting, Huber, is this coming from a Korean developer, and there are times in this where there's just some like undefinable thing that it does remind me of Liza P.
Yeah, I got Liza P vibes for sure.
There's definite vibes there, and I'm not sure exactly
Liza and Stella are friends.
Liza!
Oh yeah, they're right. They're married. That's right.
Maybe just the pace of it, because it is a little more deliberate pace. You can unlock like faster speed and attack later on, but like mostly it is like the combat is hard hitting and deliberate rather than like, it's not insanely fast. It is quick, but it is more deliberate than I thought it would be.
It is. I will say one thing that I kind of do like is it's not as punishing as Liza P.
Oh my God!
So it's like you still have like
friendly.
Some similar combat style to it in terms of like parrying like multiple things in a row. But like in Liza P, like if you miss one of those things, you're just like, okay, well, now I might as well just try again.
Yeah. It's so friendly. Like you die and you can just revive. You don't lose your souls. You don't have to backtrack like a mile and a half to get back to where you were. Like it is very friendly in that regard, but it is still a challenging game. You're going to have to get your parries and your dodges down on a lot of these enemies. There are multiple difficulties.
There's an assist thing too that I saw where you can set it so that there is like basically like a handicap almost on the parry window.
Yeah.
So like if you miss the parry, like you can still parry or dodge like the normal way, but if you miss it, then like almost like a quick time prompt will come up.
Yeah. Nice. That's cool.
So I think that's a nice little option for people.
Yeah.
One thing that I turned on right away was the auto loot.
I didn't even know that was a thing, Blood, and you posted that in Slack. I was like, thank you, Blood.
Yeah.
Pro tip, put on auto loot.
You just walk around and everything just sucks into you.
Yeah. Instead of like manually like R2 to like pick things up.
You can hold the R2 as well to suck things up, but I'm
like,
if you just turn on auto loot, just don't even worry about
it. At the same time, auto loot does freak me out because it's like, am I missing something? Like, did everything get vacuumed in,
It works pretty well.
Yeah.
The only thing about auto loot that I'd say is slightly a downside is that sometimes like everything comes in so quickly that you're not entirely sure what you just picked up.
Yeah.
But anything that's important, you can go into the menu and see, like it'll have like if you got like a new gear.
Yeah.
Those are like little buff amulets basically.
Yeah.
It'll show like a little red dot on there that you got something new. So it's not that hard to deal with.
The UI of this game also amazing. Like there's just very clear mission logs, what is going on, character and enemy profiles. I love this stuff in games. Gives you a little lore on everybody and updates as the story progresses with each character, like what they're doing, what's going on. I love that stuff. The tutorial is really nice. Like everything is just right there, easily laid out with a little video even showing. You can train at any time.
Yeah, actually,
really nice game.
So Huber, at first I was kind of like just going back and forth from one bonfire to like a group of enemies because like I was trying to get the parries and stuff down and figure it out. And then it was just like a little bit later when like I saw the thing on a skill tree where like if you go to a skill on a skill tree and push square, you can just go in there and practice, and we'll clearly tell you success when you got the skill right.
Yeah.
And so that's really nice because I really like that with Final Fantasy 16 as well. Just like go into that little virtual room and just like figure it out.
That reminds me, Damiani, there's a big open environment that's like reminds me of 16, like big open area, you know, like Tales of whatever the hell, Tales of what was that?
Arise.
Arise, yeah, sorry. There's so many Tales games. And I love this because I think the game shines when it is linear and more focused, which this game has a lot of those sections, but then also this open environment. You get side quests from like a bulletin board. Some other people give you side quests, and they're just your standard run-of-the-mill, like, go here, find this, go here, find a dead body, go here, kill this thing. Like, there's stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I need to find a missing cat, and I need to get some material to like help repair this singer needs help or whatever. My engineer's going to help her if I find everything. So.
Yeah, some of the side quests are more, like, I like that it color codes them. Like, yellow, I think, is just like your standard whatever. But then the blue ones will be like a little more story focused for like a character or something like that. So I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also get a ranged, I don't know if you got the gun yet.
I just got the gun, so like I did the tutorial with it, but I haven't actually like tried it out like in like real combat yet.
Yeah. A little bit of shades of Resident Evil here, Damiani. Also, there was like a treasure chest and little targets popped up out of nowhere, and it was like their big giant number was like 10. And I was just like, wait, 10? What? So I started like shooting them all, but it wasn't opening. And then I realized like, oh, you have to shoot the gray targets. The red ones add to the score. So you have to get it down to 0, and then like the treasure chest will open. So I was like, oh, that's a fun little mini game in the middle of nowhere for no reason.
Little things with the chest because some of them will require passwords and stuff that you like will find on bodies.
I love it. I love the exploration.
They'll kind of like do like basically like a hacking mini game, but it's just like up, down, left, right on the D-pad, and you just kind of like follow the sequence. Yeah, and you get a couple of tries to do it.
Those are fun. Yeah, because some of those it'll like go to a random one, and you just wait left. It's like really fast. It's cool.
Yeah.
Then you can also find things to upgrade your max health and your max beta energy. That's another collectible, and then of course are these. Vita tokens, the tokens or whatever.
Yeah.
Tokens are cool because you can use them to buy like special stuff. So it'll be like special mods you can put in or whatever. Like you just have a couple gear slots. That's another thing I love about this game is they don't overwhelm you with gear and loot. You have like a couple slots to slot things in, and then the things you pick up, there's like a handful of resources. There's not like 100 different resources you need to manage. There's just a very finite amount that can be used to upgrade basically everything in the game, which I like. It's very streamlined, very nice.
Yeah, I think, because I have gotten quite a few gears already, and it's like
that's the most variety.
One slot, and then I got a second slot that I just unlocked.
Yeah.
And it looks like you can get up to 4.
Yeah.
For like,
and those are
quite a few different effects.
Definitely, those are really good. Definitely change your strategy. And then the tokens, you can
the coins you get at the camps.
Yeah, and you can find those all over the world. You'll just like smash some barrels and tokens will fly out. You can use those to buy costumes and hairstyles and glasses and stuff. I know everyone's being weird on like all sides with this game because of Eve. Part of that,
I was very like because I knew I was coming up on the town, so it was like very much like, all right, I'm not going to bed until I get this woman some clothes.
Dude, I love the default outfit, whatever.
It's just a little shiny there.
There's a ton of different outfits. There's definitely some like puritanical Bloodworth outfits if you're vibing that.
But I managed to get one that's like a little bit more like it's not that different than the main outfit, but it's a little bit more like a wetsuit. So it's so not as much definition in the front.
I actually have just been rocking the default because like those get pretty expensive to like buy those.
Yeah, and then I also bought like a dress, which is like, this would be weird in combat, but it's like my walk around town dress, kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a couple of interesting things with that though. I think one, I know you like economy.
Yeah.
And
good economy. You get
getting these outfits, like there's a couple of steps to them.
Yeah.
Like for one, like I had to like unlock a good reputation with the vendor.
Yes, the more you buy, you upgrade your rep. Again, everything's streamlined, so it's only from level 1 to 3. It's nothing crazy here.
Yeah, so it's like I was with the information broker in that back alley.
Yep.
And it was really funny. I put it on Twitter, like when you first meet her, Eve is just like, you don't seem like you'd be very likable or something like that. I'm like, whoa, Eve.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you buy a couple of things from her, and then it unlocks a couple of outfits that you can buy, and then you level up again and you get some more outfits.
Yeah.
But when you buy those outfits from her, one, they cost the coins instead of the gold, which is a lot more rare.
And the rare resources too.
And then two, you need to have resources to actually craft the clothing after you buy the blueprint.
Yeah.
So you really want to be like kind of picky about what outfits you're going to get.
Totally.
Rather than just like mop everything up. It'll take you a little bit.
Yeah. I was like, this is like New Game Plus territory. Like outfits and stuff, you rock your default, maybe like one or two others, and then New Game Plus.
But Hubert, the one thing, and you talked about this a little bit, but the one thing that's really been surprising to me and that I've been really digging is the level design in those first few areas.
Yeah.
Because there have been a lot of great little side routes and pockets and places to like climb over here, go over there, jump and air dash across this way and find something up in like a higher level or a lower level.
It feels very rewarding.
They're like little pools of water, and it just looks like nothing, but you get in there and you dive and like, oh, there's like
some loot down there.
A guy down there with some lore, or there's like a body with one of the energy cores or something like that. And so it really does encourage you to look around the corner and and that kind of thing, where it's like I really like that if it looks like there might be something over there, then there's a chance that you will find something cool.
Yeah, and I like the lore of this game. I know some reviews came out, and I feel like that was one of the main criticisms were the characters and the story and stuff.
I feel like Adam is so wooden, like. His voice actor feels like the guy who's going to instruct you on how to play a multiplayer match or something.
It's funny. That's so funny because for me, I'm like, this man is calming. He has a calming presence, and he's like putting me at ease in this crazy situation. I like the characters. I like the lore. Like finding little, it's like goes all the way back to Resident Evil.
The visual character design with a lot of these guys is cool. Like the prophet dude and like the middle of the town and his bodyguard and a lot of those other folks that are around,
Yeah. So I like finding all the little documents. They give you some insight and whatnot, and things get crazy. It's cool. It's good game.
Freako enemies,
bosses.
The boss with the freaking like wheel of thorns around his head.
Yeah, bosses are fun. There's like the Makiri dodge too, and just another way this game is friendly. It'll like blink twice when you do it. You know how in Sekiro it's like the red flashes, and you better step on that spear. This will be like the enemy will glow blue, and then your weapon will glow blue, and then you Makiri dodge.
Yeah, that's something.
So it gives you a little heads up.
Yeah, I think it's nice that like you can kind of take your time to learn one of those things at a time, because it's like, okay, there's the blue for forward, the purple for backwards, and then like the regular, just hit the dodge button.
Yeah.
And then as well as the parries. But I really do like those moves where you like zoom behind them and then hit them from behind.
Totally. So fun.
Yeah. Damiani, you got any thoughts, any questions?
I mean, the environment was the level design was the thing, just because games, these types of games can have like great combat, like Devil May Cry 5, like absolutely love the combat in that game. But I was kind of bummed. I spent 2/3 of that game in like, a demonic hellhole looking area that never really changed. And I was like, all right, kind of tired of this. So I didn't know if it was like more like that, or they, went a little bit more extravagant, because I was seeing a lot of like, open desert, rocky environments. And I was like, is it all just that, like, post-apocalyptic ruins? Not that like that's bad. It's just, when you're going for spectacle and flash, I feel like environments are the things where a lot of these games get elevated a little bit further, as well as like some of the other like trimmings, like good side quests, good story, and so on. But from where I saw, everything I saw is like, this looks very samey, these environments. So I was kind of concerned.
Yeah, you're in those environments maybe a little longer than the others because they have like a ton of side quests. You know, you're not just like barreling through. But there's a pretty nice variety. Like it's I'm the same way, Damiani. I need like, especially if I'm going to play a challenging game, I want the environments to like be nice to be in. You know, it's one of my favorite things about games. Like I said a week or so ago, just being in video game spaces. And I really like this world. I love how it looks. It's really cool. Yeah.
At least when you first get into town, I don't know if it'll be an issue going forward, but there were quite a few, like, okay, a bit too many documents, like, just piled on. Right there's like, okay, reading. There's another thing to read. Okay, here's an information broker with, like, 12 things to read. But the music I've been liking.
The music's so good. Yeah. It's so addicting.
I think it's weird because I'm a little split on some of it because I like the vocal tracks, but sometimes the vocal tracks aren't particularly fit for looping, you know, and so like after a while it's like, okay, we've
heard this
ready to move on a
lyric
little bit.
A bunch of times.
But I have seen like some of the other areas with like some of the non-vocal tracks, they do some really nice like highs and lows with combat. So it's like you've got the song, and then like when you start engaging an enemy, then like the bass line will kick in and it'll kind of like ramp up a little bit more and just give you a little bit more intensity on the same song.
Yeah.
Which I always like when they do that kind of thing, activity in the music.
Yeah.
So
loving it. Love it.
I'm liking it way more than I thought I would.
It is very addicting. I was
like really like, I'll put in my time for the podcast and then go back to it. It's like, well, I want to keep playing this for a while.
It's so playable. It's one of those like 2 a.m. games, you know, just where the time melts away and you're like, let me just get a little further. Let me finish this quest. And it's like, oh, it's so addicting.
Nice. Let's move on to something very different.
Review copy had been provided by PlayStation.
Right. I did put it there for the first time, right? I said it.
Don't you have to say it verbally at the end too?
Well, that's one is a standalone video, but okay. But I did say at the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. Second guessing myself. Eiyuden Chronicle, Isla. You got to put a few hours there.
9, if I'm not mistaken.
9.
Sick.
Yeah, so let me cut to myself and then reposition this B-roll. Eiyuden Chronicles.
Gorgeous.
So, yeah, beautiful video game. If you are familiar with Suikoden, then you are familiar with this video game. But for those of you who are not familiar with Suikoden, they are games that tell grand fantasy, stories about empires and military conflicts and bonds and gathering like the forces of your kind of like a rebellion usually. And so in Suikoden, it was 108 stars, they were called in that. In this one, it's 100 heroes. I assume that's the subtitle of the game, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. So I assume there are only 100. Who's to say? But so you are gathering.
Oh my God, that card game.
100. Yes, I'll get into it. I haven't played it yet, but I saw.
Great.
I'll get into it.
Okay.
I have notes too. So the cool things about Eiyuden Chronicle is that all the staples of Suikoden are there. So if you loved those, you'll like this probably. It is like amazingly old school for better and worse. I'll get into that. I have a lot of like weird nitpicks and then but the overarching kind of like message of this is it is so cozy and so like old-timey cool vibes. And like the game starts with, it has a little message that just says like, with appreciation to RPG fans or something like that, And like, Damiani, you'll dig this. Like it was part of the Kickstarter, but like certain people at certain tiers could put their pet in the game. So there's just pixel art cats and dogs fucking everywhere. Like an absurd amount of them. Nice. And you get a trophy for petting the animals. So like I got that after petting like 10 animals or something like that. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, the gameplay is about, it's a standard JRPG, quote unquote. You go around, do the story stuff, lots of random battles. So if that gets your goat, you'll be annoyed by that. I think I've auto-battled every single fight that is not a boss, because there's basically, so far, 9 hours in, there's been zero reason not to. And you can have a battle plan, so you can set up how your AI characters will behave. So, I have it set to battle without using MP because I don't want them burning all their magic points, because that takes an item to replenish, or you have to stay at an inn, classic Jerpager stuff. Lots of voice acting in this game, for better and for worse. All of the lines are, well, not all, but like a lot of the story lines are all voiced, and there's at least English and Japanese. I'm playing in English. Excuse me. I say for worse because in battle it gets very repetitive, and I find myself not using characters that I think are charming and cute at first, because they just get so annoying. Like Magical Girl Malore, like the 30th time you hear Magical Girl Malore is coming to get you, you're just like, all right, dude, like pump the brakes, it has a lugubrious start. It takes its time, this game. It's not something you want to rush through. It has really cute characters. The pixel art is really, really good, and it's mixed with 3D environments. I would say that the overall visual effect is very, very good. You could get a little nitpicky, like sometimes in bigger areas, like one of the main towns that you start in or get to pretty early. You can kind of see the, like, I don't know if it's the LOD or like the line where the depth of field kind of starts, but it looks like a screen tear is just kind of following you around, which could bother some people. Like, you see it, but I don't know, it doesn't bother me. It's kind of like not Unicorn Overlord, but the other one, Octopath Traveler, where it has like that depth of field, pretty intense depth of field. Not that intense, but yeah. Let's see. I got a trophy for using auto battle more than 100 times. A lot of times, in especially in like escape sequences or like more intense moments, you'll walk 3 steps and get another little cutscene, and then go into battle, and then walk 3 steps and get a little cutscene and go into battle. Like, there are a lot of really, really old school RPG things in this that modern games don't really do as much anymore, which I think, like, some of them are charming and some of them could be smoothed out. Like, there's a part where, whenever a character joins your party, for example, it says, like, Gur has joined your party, and then it shows their picture and says, like, what they, like, kind of like their little, like, feisty fighter or whatever. And it does that for every single person. And like, there was a point where like 10 people joined my group, and it did that for every single person. It showed their name, and then it showed their little thing. And I'm like, you don't need both. Like, cut out this person joined your party. Just show all the people sliding in, like, speed that up. The stuff like that, I think could be fixed a little bit. But the story beats, I won't get into specifics because I don't want to spoil anyone who doesn't kind of already know what to expect. But it's so far like very Suikoden, like by the numbers, things kind of have happened. Like, you can kind of expect what is going to happen. But yeah, so I'm about 8.5, 9 hours in, and I just got the headquarters, which is kind of the other main staple of this style of games, if you could call it that.
Because you can build that up with more facilities and stuff?
Yeah, so the main staples of these games, besides the really cool combat system, which I really like, and I'll get into in a minute, is collecting the people, 108 stars in Suikoden and 100 in this. And, all of the characters are characters. It's really neat that if you bring, like they'll have sections of the game where it's like, okay, you have to bring these 3 people, but the other 3 people, because you generally form a party of 6.
Okay.
In this, you can have a support role and 3 attendants, which I haven't met. I met 1 attendant so far, but I don't think they pop up in battle. She just lets me rearrange my party at save points. But yeah, basically you have a party of 6 in combat. And what's cool about combat in these types of games is that you put in everyone's orders ahead of time, and then they all do it. And some people, when they have better bonds, can do like a hero combo together. They can do magic, they can do attacks, they get their SP up, and then they can do their specials, And, the game is pretty smart about if the person you targeted dies, they target the next person. So, like, your attacks don't go to waste or anything like that, which is really nice. And, like, characters on your team and the enemy can, like, block each other. Like, if someone on your team is low health, one of your other teammates who has higher health might, like, get in the way of an attack to protect them if they have high enough bonds, like that kind of stuff, which is cool. And enemies can do that too, which is kind of fun. And there are battle gimmicks, which are specific to the kind of bosses generally, where, one of them might be like, move this lever and it'll change where this rock will fall, or like hit this thing and it'll attack the right side of the screen, like that kind of stuff that kind of mixes it up, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the other big part of these games is that you have a headquarters and that you expand it as you go. And there are 2 main ways that you do that, with resources and through finding new allies. And finding new allies in this game, they're kind of a requisite to unlock a certain building. So you'll see like a building plan through this cool architect lady character who shows you the kind of, it looks kind of like a skill tree / blueprint sort of a deal. But in this game, it'll be like, okay, you need 20 lumber, 300 whatever it's called, like headquarters points, whatever, and this character. And if you've met them, it'll show their portrait. If you haven't met them, it shows their outline. So you can kind of guess, like,
okay,
so which I think is really helpful, because with this many characters to find, sometimes it can get kind of stressful and you don't want to miss any. But yeah, you can be like, okay, I saw that guy. Like, I think I saw that guy over here. Like, so I have to go back to that village and find that person, because then
that's cool.
I
was wondering about that, like whether that was like really prescribed or if you could like actually miss people or upset somebody or something.
Yeah, I'm early days in this still, so I think that I would be surprised if I could have missed anyone that I have so far. It from my perspective, it seems like I have everyone. You have a choice sometimes to be like, no thanks to someone, but like, I don't know why you would, because you're trying to collect these people. So it's like, oh, your sister's missing? Sure, I'll help you, but you could say no. And I guess maybe just come back to that later is my assumption. But in Suikoden, there are a few people you could just straight miss. So I assume that this will be the same way. But yeah, Huber, I did see, so there have been a few characters referencing, and it's some crazy fantasy word, so I don't remember what it is, but like
Natibas.
Natibas. Some kid will be like, do you have one yet? Like in town, or like, oh, you don't have one. And then like some of them just say that, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? But the other ones are like, oh, you don't have a Byakugan or whatever they call it yet,
Byakugan.
Yeah, Byakugan. You don't have a Byakugan yet, so you can't do this thing. And I assume that's a game. But then also on the skill tree, I noticed, because I was looking through it for building out the town and the castle and the headquarters or whatever, one of the upgrades to like the tavern or whatever is, and you need a person for this too, is like a card shop.
Yes.
And I'm like, hell yeah.
Yes.
I'm so jazzed about that. So yeah, hopefully there's a thing. And in the like help page tutorials thing, there's a whole page for mini games, and the only one I've unlocked so far is fishing.
Oh, wow.
And there's like 10 of them.
Yes.
Nice.
And in the trailer,
I wonder if that was Kickstarter backing, like get more mini games.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I was actually looking through the Kickstarter rewards, because like you'll be wandering around the world and then you'll just see a guy named like Jason Mowray, and you're just like, what? Or like, you know, I made up that last name, but like, it was just like a guy with glasses and some cats and a person name, you know? And I was like, well, that has to be a Kickstarter backer thing, right? And then I looked it up and it's like, so higher level, like you could be an NPC, and some of them are like, you can be a portrait, and some people got some real star placement, because like, in the first area, you know, the guy who you get kind of missions from is right next to a portrait of this dude with just like looks like a person.
Wow.
And you're like, okay, like cool.
Is the max donation you get to be one of the 100 heroes?
I wonder actually.
If one person is like one of the heroes. That'd be cool.
I stopped looking at the list once I confirmed that those were in there, so maybe that was like the last one.
But Sea of Stars did some fun things with that too. Like they had like this whole like basically crypt full of like gravestones or whatever and monuments, but like basically the more backers paid, the more elaborate it was. So like there were some that were like all basically the same, but then the bigger ones, like they had unique designs, and then they like the biggest ones had like whole on statues to like their dog or something, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
How's the difficulty, Isla?
Very easy so far.
Even boss battles, no huge spike?
Yeah, like I said, I auto battle every non-boss fight. To the extent that I almost feel like I wish there was a setting, and maybe there is later, because I found some dash boots that I put on one of my characters in the party, and I actually started walking faster in the real map.
Oh, you're stoked.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, sick. And it wasn't even on my main person either. I gave it to like Leon, and then we all started walking faster. I was like, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, the bosses so far, you know, if you're, you know, familiar with RPGs and like the logic of it, and just like stock up on medicines and stuff, I haven't had a problem so far. Like I've had characters get KO'd and then I just revive them and it's fine.
Nice.
Like I haven't wiped or anything yet. But they definitely, these games can spike, and like there were some challenging bosses later on in Suikoden, so I wouldn't be surprised. Also, there's the thing I wanted to say about bringing non-essential characters is it's cool that they'll have dialogue, they'll still talk.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, you know, I'm early enough in the game where it's like I have 20 people or whatever, but it's like, okay, they must have like had lines for everyone, like a potential of like these 60 people could say something here, you know, like eventually, I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if there's just certain lines that are shared, and then they like maybe tweak one or two keywords to sound like that person.
Yeah.
Do you always have to have the main dude in your party?
You can put him as an attendant, which I haven't, like I realized you could do, but I haven't done it. But like theoretically what I think that means is that you can put the like, because there's 3 attendant slots. So I think theoretically, generally you've had to have Leon, your main character Noah, and Gur with you. So I think you could put those 3 as attendants and bring a party of 6 other people, and those are the people that actually do the combat, and your characters wouldn't. Maybe. I haven't verified that yet. Also, similar to Suikoden, it has a few other kind of gameplay combat modes, which are a little underbaked, but they're kind of cool that they're there. They do full-scale army battles, which are like sort of light tactical. The feedback is a little strange because like I've only done one of them, and it was kind of a scripted thing, I think, because it's the first time you're doing it, you know. But like the enemy's health bar was completely gone, and then my character said, "I'm calling a retreat," and we were fine. And like, I don't know why that happened. Like, you know, stuff like that. And then there's kind of a one-on-one like battle at sunset kind of a mode as well that happens at story points, which is pretty cool. All in all, I would say, you know, if you're a fan of super old school RPGs and are patient and have a hankering for, you know, this kind of a vibe, this is, you know, right on the money for that. And especially if you're a fan of Suikoden, you know, I would say it nails the vibe. It just is a Suikoden game, like straight up. You can tell that, you know, they didn't have an infinite budget and whatever, but like you can tell that they have infinite heart, like their heart's really in it. And like it kind of bums me out that the original creator passed away like just before this game came out. Like props to him, but yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one because it's like, it's real rough around the edges and it's not a perfect game, but it's like, if this is your thing, you'll love it, kind of a thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Is Damiani going to play it?
I've never really been into the games, even though I own 3 Onward on PlayStation 2. I almost played Tactics. Like I was told maybe to try that one. But I mean, Tactics, I've been following this game and like, it just seems like a lot of the discourse right now is over like, do you want like an older school style of game that lacks those modern considerations and lots of random encounters, like maybe too many? It's like, it's like you're getting what you asked for. Like it feels like that situation where the people who back this, that's what they want. And then people who maybe didn't quite back it or weren't as in on it are trying it out and like, oh, it could be better, but like, would it still be that? I like, it's like, what did you want? Did you want like more of the same or did you want like an evolved version? And also watch at least 2 videos on the Switch version. It's like avoid that one at all costs right now.
Oh,
it's got like tons of technical issues.
I
should say I'm playing on PlayStation.
Yeah, like that's unfortunate because I was like, that might be the platform people might want to get on the most. I don't know. It just, seems like.
Yeah, I could see this game. Like it feels like a great fit for the Switch, but I could see the Switch having problems running it because they're doing a lot of kind of like, it looks like in-engine visual stuff, which I imagine is probably the source of that.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, having not played Suikoden, like how do you like figure out with that many characters, like who to actually put in your party and like what kind of advantages and disadvantages does like an individual character have, or does it sort of be like, you like that guy, put him in?
It's a little of both, honestly. So you have 2 rows, and to put in combat, and some characters are like, it'll say S, M, or L for short, medium, long. That's their attack range. Short character, useless in the back row, has to be in the front. Then they can attack the front row. Medium range can attack both rows if they're in the front, and the front row if they're in the back. Long range can attack anybody in any row, but they're generally squishier, so they're like an archer or a magic person. So if you put them in the front, I think theoretically they could hit things, but they'll just die real quick. So like that's the kind of like, easy logic of that. You want to pay attention to general party comp. You put your people with higher hit points toward the front. You want to have 1 healer. You want to have maybe 1 magic user that can do AoEs. You want to have somebody who's really fast because you can see the turn order on the top of the screen. So you want to have somebody who's really fast. Leon, the girl who starts with you, is generally pretty quick. So like that's really useful because if she basically almost always goes first, which means if you have someone who really needs healing or something, you give that to her first so that she can do that. Or if you need something to happen first in battle, you can get really nitty gritty about it. But then you'll find like beyond the basics, you'll mostly pick your party based on who's annoying and who's not. Or who you like and who isn't, So like, if you like the stalwart like Ronin guy, you put him in. If you like
all animals,
you could do. There are Beastren kind of characters in this, and you could do that. I mean, I haven't met enough to fill out a party yet, maybe, but like of all beast people, but
going shark, going bear, going beast,
dude. Yeah, there are shark people, there are bear people, like that. The main takeaway is it's cozy as hell, but it will take your time. Like I am 9 hours in and I just got to like the meat and potatoes of the game, like right now, like it just happened. So, bear that in mind. And I have maybe 20 people. So it's like I am
settling in.
Yeah. 20% of the way there, maybe. Who's like recruitable generally based on their look. Like if somebody has a more detailed pixel art model, that they're generally, they stand out a little without feeling out of place, which is nice.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things, like even with the trailers that impressed me is just like how they've managed to design that number of characters and have them all feel different.
It's a funny kind of like playing this game feels like kind of a visual kind of like, here's how you budget a game like this, because it's like, you know, you'll see repetitive background art, you'll see repetitive room layouts, you know, you'll go to a town and they'll have...
Oh, we saw some repetitive background art in Stellar Blade, too.
Yeah. But like, you'll go to a separate town and they have the exact same meeting hall building that the other town has, right? But then, you know, every single one of these characters has an amazing silhouette and a different look, and like, you know, so it's like they put the resources in appropriate places, and they spent their money wisely, you know? And again, it's, you know, not the highest budget game ever, so I think that they did that really well.
And then the other, like, last little question I've got, and I don't know if this is something that's done in the series before, or if it's something that's happened already, or maybe will happen later, but do you ever have points you think where you would essentially, like, manage, like, multiple parties? Like, you have one group go here and another group go there and kind of go through a dungeon in different directions at the same time, or no?
I can't confirm that in this game. In Suikoden 2, I have a vague memory of that happening at a certain point where you make two parties and both fight boss from different angles. Played a lot of JRPGs over my lifetime, so maybe that was a different game, but I'm pretty sure that happened in Suikoden. Anything's possible, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say I recommend if you're into old school stuff, and I would say avoid if you're annoyed by that kind of thing, you know. But it's a lovely, cozy, beautiful little game so far.
Sick. All right, Huber.
Yo.
Another great, fun game we've been playing this week. Another Crab's Treasure.
Crab Souls.
Crab Souls.
Game is sick.
Yeah. Yeah, this game's been really fun. And it's easy to get the Souls-like side of it, but it's also like a mix of a Souls-like and like a 3D platformer.
Sure.
You do a lot of that and like a lot of that style of exploration and you know, jumping over moon jellies and those sorts of things.
You get the grappling hook.
Yes.
To, like, you know, pull yourself
we've
places.
Got that a little later in here. So you start off, you're a hermit crab on the shore.
Such a funny premise.
This loan shark shows up and he's like, hey, you're late on your taxes. If you don't pay up, I'm going to repossess your house.
Yeah.
And he's like...
Your house is your shell.
Yeah.
So the whole point of the game is to get your shell back.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But he's like, what are taxes? What's a duchess?
It is so fun. It's got some rough edges for sure, but for me they're very easy to overlook because this game is so charming and it's really solid where it matters. You know, combat is solid. Exploration, I get a little confused sometimes.
Okay.
So I have been lost a couple times. It might just be on me. I don't know. But
yeah, I think this reef level, which is I want to call it like the second level, but there's multiple levels before this. But I think this is one of the more confusing ones because like there's still areas in here and I'm like, wait, how do I get there? But there are also things that like I clearly need some kind of power later to go over there. But yeah, I really like kind of the vibes and the setup and the look and feel of everything. And again, they kind of like let you soak into each part of the game at a time. So like the first little bit, like you don't even have a shell. You know, you're just learning how to do basic combat and like avoid attacks and get in on guys and stuff like that. And then, you know, when you get to this first kind of boss fight, this is the first time you have a shell. And sort of like the way the shell works is...
There's a lot of them. There's like 50 or 60 shells.
Yeah, there's a ton of shells. So you're talking about like soda cans and bottle caps and banana peels, tennis balls. One of the favorite ones that I bought was like, it's just like a macaroni shell. And it's like really high defense, but then it's got a special ability to where like you can munch the shell to get health back.
Yeah.
But anyway, so with the shell, you hide into the shell, and so the shell takes damage instead of you taking damage. And that's really key to learn how to work with that. But once you learn how to parry, which again they give you a little bit of time with just the shell before you do that.
Yeah.
Then if you parry an attack, your shell won't take damage.
Yeah, the parry for me is really unwieldy in this game. To me, it's the biggest flaw out of the entire game.
It's tricky.
Is parrying.
And I think the reason it's tricky is because unlike other games where you like tap the button to parry at the right time.
Yeah.
With this, you have to release
the
button. You have to already be holding the button and then release.
Yeah.
That's why it's a little tricky.
Yeah, it's really
because you're popping out of the shell.
Yeah, and it takes for a second for him to get into the shell. It's just really weird timing. It always feels unwieldy for me. So yeah.
Yeah, but
that's my biggest gripe.
With the feel of it, though, Huber, what's interesting is, and like you could say this about a lot of Souls-likes, right? But I have had times where like I was like struggling on a boss or whatever, like one of the main bosses, which I don't want to spoil, but like one of the ones where you get like one of your first like alternate powers or whatever. You know, that boss was rough, and then like I actually did like click. Like I was in the zone where it was like, okay, I know the timing of when this attack is gonna land and when to parry, and then it all just worked, and like just destroyed that boss.
Heck yeah.
So that's always a great feeling.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing in terms of just like controls and movement is that sometimes with like these sort of like multi-layered environments and platforming stuff is that sometimes like things will be on another layer, and even Dark Souls will have this issue, but like sometimes the AI won't be in exactly a great place for you to attack them.
Yeah.
Or they'll like, I had one where like there's a like sponge, it's like a springboard kind of thing, right? And this freaking archer crab backed up and was on the sponge, and he was bouncing off of the sponge constantly.
That's so funny.
And I was having a hard time finding a way to hit him, but his like laser focus with his bow was like, okay, he's gonna hit me every freaking time, and I have to figure out how to hit him. You know, and it's something like that. It's like the next time I, like died and got back to that guy, like he didn't get in that position, But similarly, like sometimes enemies will just like kind of fall off of platforms or whatever. And so just like little rough things like that. But there's so many cool things. Like one of the cool things with the shells that like later on you unlock the umami meter.
Yeah.
And every shell has a different power.
Yeah.
And so some of them are sort of reused, but
the soda can like is called Fizzle. It shoots out a bunch of little like homing damage things.
Yeah, you put out these little bubbles, and then if the enemy gets close enough to the bubbles, they'll like go in and on the enemy.
The banana you can eat to get health back. The banana you just
munch, like the shell I was talking about.
The teacup's my favorite because you get faster attack speed or more attack speed. One of the, I think it's either more damage or more attack speed. I think it's attack speed.
Yeah,
the teacup.
Yeah, the teacup.
Love the teacup
because you get caffeinated.
Yeah,
and so then you do more damage for like a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Then there's like the glass ones, which are interesting because they like put out spikes. So when an enemy attacks the spikes, then they get
shot glass.
They get damage. The coconut shell.
Coconut is beefy.
Yeah, so some of these like have more weight to them, so they kind of like limit your dodge a little bit.
Yes.
But it rolls through like a bulldozer.
Yeah.
And it's got really high defense, so it kind of makes up for it. You become more tanky. And then
the town is so cool.
And then this town,
it's so cool.
The town is great because it's just like it's made of all of this trash. Because it's a big theme of the game. Is that basically like trash is falling from the sky.
It's actually pretty depressing when you think about it. They get really hyped for Trash Day.
Yeah.
And it's like they all look up to the surface and like you don't see it, but it's clearly like a boat or something just dumping trash into the ocean, and they're all just like, more trash. They like love it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
But it also like it weaves in so well though, because it's freaking Bloodborne lore. Because basically what's happening is like the toxic pollution and microplastics are like making the characters go insane.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah. And like when you like kill a boss or something, it's like pollution cleanse or something like that comes up. Yeah.
So good. And in the main town too, there's like some good like politics of like the top level is people
upper and lower class.
Upper and lower, like the top people are living in like old whiskey bottles and stuff, and then you go down and people are living in like shoe boxes,
cardboard boxes
complaining that their house is like soggy and stuff. Oh
that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And there's a fish down there driving a car around. He'll just hit you and like, what's going on with this fish?
Yeah.
What else is there in there? There's like, but there's so many great little gags with that stuff too, because they're like CVS receipts, the giant CVS receipts that they're using as bridges between different
so cool
bits of coral. And then with the grappling hook, you can like chain your way up to like higher areas or across gaps and stuff like that. Yeah. You also get upgrades to where you can use the grappling hook in combat, which is really nice. And with like bigger, like tougher enemies, there's like a little bit of almost like a fishing mini game with it to like get it in the right direction to pull them and yank them.
Yeah.
So like with the skill tree, like I really like how it just like keeps adding on like more little layers to the combat.
Yeah.
For every little thing that you can do. So like after you parry, then you can riposte.
Yeah.
Or like instead of yanking an enemy towards you, you can yank yourself towards them and like spear them, and then you actually get a thing. I don't know if you've gotten this far yet, but you can spear the shells.
Yeah, that was like the first thing I went for.
Basically, a weapon upgrade.
Yeah, that was the first thing.
Use the shells as a hammer.
Yeah.
But then you can basically also carry 2 shells, so you can swap back and forth between them. And then the area that I'm basically just getting to the end of right now is pretty cool. It's like a kelp forest, there's a really cool boss there.
Yeah, I'm not at the boss there yet. I thought of Dawn big time because like the premise is so smart because it's so simple and so immediate. It's like, okay, go get your shell back from the loan shark. He went to the big town. You get to the big town and it's like the cereal box drops. And there's like a cereal box with like a treasure on it, and it's like
map, yeah,
and it's like a treasure map, and it's like, okay, we got to find the treasure.
But half of the box is ripped,
yeah.
So you've got to find the rest of the map.
Yes. Yeah. So then it's like, okay, if you find the treasure, I'll give you, because there's some story bits, but it's like, find the treasure and you'll get your shell back, basically. But then other people in the town are also on the treasure hunt, so it's like just this very basic premise that's also just really fun, and it's like such a good way to give you objectives and also introduce you to other characters. It's like really well done. I really like that.
Yeah.
Because there's like voice acting too, which I think is okay, but then there's a lot of just like non-voice acting dialogue. Mm-hmm. You can talk to so many people in town. There's some pretty fun characters.
Yeah.
Someone in chat said this, but it was echoing my thought, and they hadn't realized it was a pun, but this game is way deeper than they thought it would be. And I had been thinking that same thing.
Yeah.
With Skip Sandwich.
Yeah.
But yeah, like seeing this and like, there's way more thought went into it. Like I kind of wrote it off as like a funny joke kind of a game, but it actually looks pretty sick.
Yeah, really fun. Again, little rough around the edges for me. Just the controls are a little.
The other like weird little things with like sometimes the camera, like when you get to like a tight space, like it'll be on like the backside of a wall and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
that's intentional. It's an homage to Souls-like.
And then I think now that I've got enough upgrades, I'm better with them. But man, for a while, like when I was first coming across those puffer fish, I was like, I hated those suckers.
I hate those freaks
because they have like they're like tied to like a bag or something that's weighing them down, and then they'll like do this like spin attack.
It's just hard to hit them, man.
Yeah, it's really hard to like get a good grip on them.
Yeah.
But great like. Because I told you I went back to like the first area after I'd sort of moved on and got to the town. And it's like, oh, like now that I've got like the fishing line and some other abilities, that like there's a lot more here to explore that I didn't find.
Good idea.
Including like an optional boss.
Nice.
And then even in the second area, like I found another optional boss. I'm like, all right, this guy took me a few tries.
Sick, dude. Bloodborne's doing work.
Down. Yeah.
Finding optional bosses, dude.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
really, good rewards from them too. So
yeah.
And then there's a lot of stuff to buy in the town.
Yeah.
They
Economy.
have shell insurance.
Yeah.
That you can buy.
So funny.
So that basically, like, when you respawn at what's essentially the bonfire equivalent, like you start off with that shell, and then once you've gotten insurance for multiple shells, you can just pick which one you want in the menu.
I feel like every single dev has listened to people shout from the rooftops and complain about dying in a Souls-like and having to run back somewhere. So they just don't do it anymore, because Stellar Blade is not really a Souls-like, but it's you can just respawn. You're pretty much right there. Another Crab's Treasure.
Yeah, the moon jelly thing.
Yeah, you just
you die at a boss.
You get to a boss, you respawn right outside the arena.
The one thing though, you still have to pick up your souls.
So you got to commit.
So if you're not careful, if you just start running straight ahead, you can leave them behind by accident.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it is really helpful. They also, if you could possibly remember this, which you probably don't, but way back when I played it at GDC a year and a half ago or whenever that was, I had a cheese strat for that first boss.
Oh yeah.
So your Estus flask
so Damiani.
are these health hearts.
Yeah.
These kelp hearts things. And so when I did the demo, I could hit the heart down into the boss arena, and so I would have 4 hearts instead of 3.
Yep. Damiani's
and
pleased.
now you can't interact with them physically. They don't move when you swing at them.
So you cost us. You cost us the
But
cheese.
I think that fight was easier than when I did it in the demo.
Nice.
It wasn't as tricky this time, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
Chad is on fire with crab puns right now. I just have to say.
yes.
They've got some really good ones going on.
Yeah, it's full of puns and stuff too. That boot
It's
thing.
so
It says
charming.
boot liquor on it.
Yeah.
It's a liquor store.
Most charming game of the year, no doubt about it. Feel good hit of the summer. Is this
It's not supposed to be super long either. Mm-hmm. I mean, I put
cult classic
8 or 9
immediately,
hours, but yeah, I think it's supposed to be on the shorter side.
Nice.
So
Cool.
Oh my God, Dark Shoals, reprawn.
yeah,
When you die, you reprawn. They're asking if there's a pistol shrimp in there. Do you fight an imitation crab?
it's an intimidation crab actually.
Oh my God.
That's great.
Freaking samurai warrior on a sushi boat, man.
Sick.
The
great.
salty run back. Damn it, Chad.
Yes.
So cool.
And then the one basic thing we didn't bring up is you've got the little Yoshi flutter.
Yeah.
When you jump,
Yeah.
you kind of do a little swim.
Yeah.
But
I've fallen into the abyss so many times.
that is definitely an issue with the platforming. But you have these things called stowaways, which again are little badges to buff you. There is a badge that's a packing peanut, a styrofoam peanut. And so if you fall into one of those abysses, you'll come back without taking damage.
Oh, nice.
So that's a really good one to have when you're in those kind of more intense
Very friendly
platforming areas. And there are
Dude, money's hard to come by in this game.
the shortcuts. Instead of dropping down a ladder, you drop down a fish hook.
Those are fun, yeah.
And so then you just zip up to that and it pulls you up, which is really it feels good.
Totally. I think it's $30. If anyone's
Is it?
gonna buy this game, $30.
Nice. I think it might be on Game Pass too.
Oh,
So there's that.
Ooh,
nice.
very good.
All right, next up, Damiani, Sandland.
Mr. Sandland.
Very curious about this.
Give me some sand.
The anime is out. I put about 6 episodes into the anime, which
Whoa.
is the first
Dude,
arc,
Blood is the
essentially.
most sneaky anime watcher of all time. He'll just come to work one day and be like, yeah, I watched 30 episodes of this anime. You're like, wait, what? It's like, oh,
Blood
yeah,
is
I'm on the...
currently the anime guy.
Yeah.
But this is from Akira Toriyama, rest in peace. And the manga came out 20 years ago or something. I don't know exactly the dates. So it's really interesting to see this anime adaptation along with the game adaptation.
Yeah.
And yeah, Damiani, tell us what it's like. Have you watched any at all, or are you just playing the game?
Yeah, no, I haven't, and I feel bad until the marketing for the game started ramping up with the reveal. I was like, oh wait, what is this new? Is this old? I wasn't aware of it, and they're like, oh no, it's an older work from Akira Toriyama that they're bringing, we're getting a game, we're getting some new stuff for it. And it's like, oh, I guess that's, that's cool. The visual test, it looks like Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, it really does.
The character designs, the environments,
Dobora,
right down to they have a capsule toy thing that like the capsule core stuff that like you store vehicles and throw them and like they pop out. It's like, oh, okay. Like a lot of spherical things, like all the vehicles are like spherical in design, like lots of curves. Very like kind of like the only other thing I've seen like that is like the F-Zero artwork for Super Nintendo is very much like that style as well. I feel like they took some influence from there. I don't know if he's like the progenitor of that kind of like style, but like it's very distinct and they capture it very well in this game. And I will say this is like to appeal to like hubrisms here is like from what I've played, this feels like one of the coziest sevens because it is just like a very jolly, cozy game to play. It's not like doing anything like fantastic or even like I'd say excellent, but it's very nice to finally have an adaptation of a manga or anime that is not just a fighting game, whether it's 2D or 3D fighting game, or it has a few segments of like actual gameplay, and then it's like it's trying something different. It is an open world anime game.
Because even like Demon Slayer and the Naruto games, some of them like you can run around, but then you get into it's like a fighting game. You get into a battle.
Exactly. and like Ultimate Ninja Storm, they the first one they give you all of Konoha, and then they took it away. They're like, nah, none of you couldn't go outside. Like they took that, they scaled back and just focused on that. So they've been it's like really hard. Like even like Kakarot, was an example of one where they try and do something, but like sometimes it doesn't work well, or it's not what people really want. And I think maybe this style of game, like its source material, maybe lends itself a little bit better to this type of experience, because the story is, it's not like the most complicated story, but it's like a nice setting, I guess. I mean, it's not nice because it's a post-apocalyptic world. Basically, there was like humankind once again, cause like natural disasters, along with natural disasters, cause like the earth to pretty much become almost barren, and like water is a scarcity, and everyone's like fighting over. So Mad Max, like fighting over like water, like everyone like wants water, but also like civilization's like very scattered. But there's also like the equivalent of the Red Ribbon Army. They're like it's the King's Army. They're humans. They're like they have some shady business going on, but they got a lot of military bases. They're treating like the rest of civilization like crap, but you're not even human. You're like this demon Beelzebub. It's like, and your friend whose name is just Thief.
Yeah.
It's like your father is Lucifer, like, the head of demons. You're just like this cool teenage, I don't know if you're a teenager, but you're a cool like teenage like kid who's into video games. He loves video game systems. He's playing a Game Boy in the beginning. And then like as a peace offering, like the human who joins you, this like sheriff named Rao, I believe.
Yeah.
He brings a box with an old gaming console that looks like a Sega Saturn, and like your character goes nuts, like, oh my god, a gaming console! And like that's like it starts off like you do like basically as demons you steal water and supplies from humans because you're badasses. Like you have superior strength and like you can, but you're still susceptible to like thirst and hunger. So you got to like you got to learn that you're to survive. You also need water and food. But you're kind of like your stronghold out in the desert. Like you're just living a carefree life and like doing what you want, preying on. It's usually they say like we're only really robbed from bad guys. Like it's these army people who keep coming through. They have plenty of water. They make it a point to say like, oh, you're not really hurting anyone. You're just taking excess. So you're like good demons.
Yeah. Well, but, like, and the reason they cross paths is because they give some water to a villager, and then Rao is like, where'd you get this water from? And he kind of follows.
Like they don't like So. It opens like a scene with a heist scene where they rob the army of like some water, and Beelzebub sees a human kid who's like dehydrated and goes and gives him one of the waters. And then like his own friends like, why are you like helping out the human? He goes, don't worry, I'll torment him when he's an adult and stuff. Like he like plays everything off like, but he's like really a good and kind-hearted person. And yes, so Rao, this human sheriff of a nearby town, approaches you with this plan that he thinks there's like this legendary spring of water somewhere far in the south. Blood would love this. I know you know this, Blood, because of like bird migrations. Like all these birds that migrate north will only do so in the direction they do because there's got to be a source of water in the south. So like
kingfishers, basically.
There you go.
Fish.
Blood knows it.
Kingfisher.
He's got the knowledge right there.
Water fish. That's what he called it. Yeah.
But like it's a charming story because like I just love how like Beelzebub's like all like I'll speak for like or like, you know, you don't need to. My father Lucifer doesn't even like deal with you. You're not worthy of talking with him. And then after he hears the proposal, he goes. And he gets the game console, he's all excited, goes, I can ask permission from my dad real quick. He like runs in, and it's like a kid like scared of his dad a little bit. And then like you see Lucifer, he's like, all right, this is a good opportunity for you to like learn and like hone your skills. He goes, but, and you're like, uh-oh, like is he gonna ask him to like betray the humans? Like what? He goes, when you get back, you can only play that game console for 1 hour a day. It's like, it's so parenting. It's like, okay, that's pretty good. I mean, and yeah, you like it's like if you've seen like the original Dragon Ball, not even Z, it's very much in the style of like OG Dragon Ball, like the narrative, the characters, it's very much that vibe. And I love that vibe because it's a little bit more like laid back and relaxed. It's like not so much high stakes yet, which is pretty cool. So like for that like setting, it's a giant like desert world.
That makes me want to play it so much more, Damiani.
Yeah, like it's very enticing with its premise. So I'll give it that. Like this actually makes me kind of like I kind of maybe want to like go check out the manga or anime now. Like even if I don't end up finishing this game, yeah.
It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu, nice.
Yeah.
How many episodes?
Oh man,
I don't know how many, but it seems to be going fairly quick. But like I said, I've only done like the first arc, so there's a lot of stuff in the game trailers that I haven't seen yet.
Nice.
But yeah. Them figuring out like where the water is kind of like the end of the first arc.
Nice.
And water is like your lifeline. It's like how you heal. You have like a water bottle, and when you take damage, you just like drink it, heal. There's like water jugs scattered about the open world and are at towns or campsites that you could like refill up on your water. There's also like there's items you can use too that you can do that, but like that's your primary like healing when you're like you're on foot basically. But also like you have vehicles, you have like you get access to a tank pretty early on. And so that's how you can get multiple vehicles eventually. And as I said, you store them in little capsules, you just pop them out. And like the cool thing is they're used for traversal. They're used for combat. They're also used for exploration because they like blow open, like the tank can blow holes into like caves and like clear previously unpassable, passageways, and you can take them into some of the ruins you find too. It's like, oh wait, like it doesn't dawn on you early on, like when you're exploring like a ruin, it's like there's this wall here. Do I need a bomb? I'm like, oh, the tank. You just use it in these areas. Like they'll let you know when you can't use it. It's pretty clear. It gets pretty narrow. It's like, okay, you can't go any further. Or they'll force you to spawn out. But it's kind of like easy to go anywhere. I feel like I'm not like really like struggling in terms of traversal. But also like I feel like I haven't felt too enticed to go off the beaten path yet. Like because it is a narrative driven open world game, I am kind of following the beat point so far. And if there's something along the way that's like kind of within eyesight, I'll like go check it out. But generally I'm like staying with that. And there's like the overworld activities are kind of your typical fare. They're nothing really special. They have Ubisoft towers. Okay. You repair them, and they'll like tell you a few more activities around. There are so many treasure chests, or this item chest, Huber. It's a little overwhelming. I'm just constantly getting like items, and they're used for upgrading your tank parts or vehicle parts at one of the when you get access to the garage at one of the towns. Finally, you can upgrade like your tank. Like I'll just explain the tank real quick.
How satisfying is that to upgrade?
It feels good because it's pretty simple. It's not overwhelming. I'll say this. It's not overwhelming when you actually do it. It's just like I feel kind of tired of having to go look out for them, but it's also like, but I'm probably gonna need some, because like I've been like upgrading at a good pace. I feel like you can upgrade your overall tank level. You have like your machine gun, you have like your cannon, you have like the frame. The like two parts of the frame you could update, and out in the world you can find new parts as well, or you could at the garage you can craft those as well if you have the materials. Then you have an accessory slot, and then like 2 chip slots that are like power-ups. The first one I got access to gave me speed boost, or one was fuel efficiency. So it's nothing it doesn't feel like it's dramatically impacted anything. This feel like, nice little variations here and there, and very self-explanatory. This is like you're doing more damage, or you have more ammo. It's like usually like 1 of 3 or 4 categories that you're seeing going up in the numbers, and it's not confusing at all, honestly.
Cool.
Nice.
The tank's fun though. Good impact, good damage.
Yeah, like the tank. It's not. Yeah, there's the tank. There's like a motorcycle like vehicle you can use as well. There's like a van looking thing. And yeah, they each have like their own things. The UI at first was a little like overwhelming. I was like, what am I even looking at? But you shout out to this, even on the console version. You can go in and customize every single button, like everything. Nice. I immediately did that because they had you toggle in real time between your machine gun and your cannon, and it was set to circle, and R1 was reload. I didn't like that, and I was like, no, I want like circle reload. I want R1 to be my toggle. I toggle everything on the top. I was like, no. Just did it like that, easy. Yes. And like the interface accounts for that. They know like, oh, you change that in the instructions, we will make sure. So like when you read instructions for something new, it's not telling you the default way. It's telling you the current way of your layout, which was kind of nice because it's like, oh, that's good they accounted for that. I would say though, the one thing that I need to see a little bit more of before I could really have a final say on it is like the hand-to-hand combat. I've definitely seen some like videos out there of more advanced stuff that I haven't gotten access to yet, but you have skill trees for your character. You increase, you unlock new abilities, and then you could buff like your health stats, all that. Like one of the first ones you can get access to is if you get knocked down, you could hit a button to like recover right away, or an air dash, like an air dodge away. So you have like your light attacks, and then you have like a strong attack. So it's like square circle. And you eventually get like rush attacks, like these special attacks you can do. There's like finishers, like if you damage an enemy enough, and like there'll be a prompt to hit a button, and you like kind of like the first ones that you spin them around and hurl them. It's like with the dodging and stuff, it feels very stiff. I'm just gonna say it, like it's lacking some finesse at the moment from all the fights. I fought a few bosses, and it's not, it's like okay, it's like engaging, but like it's not. It's like only satisfactory, I will say. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they push it further later on, but it's not really. I don't think they were really like trying to go for a character action or anything like that. It's just kind of like very simplistic, I guess is the best way to put it.
How often do you need to fight hand to hand?
So that's the thing. You could get if you don't, like a lot of situations, especially open world, you just get in your vehicle. I don't want to fight you. I'm just getting my tank and just shoot you like Indiana Jones. Like I'm not gonna get out of here. But some there's this one, they have bandits that you could track down, like these special bosses for like bounties, basically bounty hunter.
Hell yeah.
And you go to their base, their layout, and he cannot bring your vehicle in there. So it's like a mixture of like a few enemies, and then you just wail on them, and it's nothing special. And then like a boss with like a few henchmen around them. It's like cool vibes. They seem pretty unique enough. But they don't really yeah, especially coming off some more recent games, it's it's kind of simple. Mm-hmm. But there's some segments that are you have a stealth mechanic. You can sneak around in close confined areas, and one of the way you get your tank is you got to sneak into a military base, and so you learn how to sneak around, and you can do it's not a stealth kill. This is just to tell you the personality of this game, how adorable it is, and how it's its own thing. You do a scare boo type thing at the guard, and they freak out and pass out. It's you're not even killing them. There's not really a killing. You're just knocking people out. Mm-hmm. Even the bosses, they're just knocked out and apprehended, or you knock them out and say you better not do anything bad again. One of the first boss fights, it's I hope this showed you the error of your ways. Maybe you should change your lifestyle.
Cosima, okay. Dude, Dragon of Dojima. Dude.
Yeah, so it's good like that. You explore there is dungeon environments. The first real one, you go into this crashed spaceship that's in the middle of the desert, and you're trying to recover a material to enhance your tank, essentially, to reach a new area. And it's I would say interior environments are another weakness. It's definitely caves, interiors kind of start looking very samey. Not a lot of variety. We were talking about that earlier, about environment variety. But like the desert parts and the outdoors and a lot of like the cutscenes just look very good. I will say that. So like it does have its moments where it shines, but at other points it definitely is a bit lacking. I just remembered this real quick. We were talking about the auto pickup stuff, and Huber, you're paranoid about like missing stuff. In this one, there's an ability where Thief, there's this goblin looking old man dude, like just gets out of the, you lock as a perk. He gets out of the tank and starts like picking up stuff for you. Like you'll go down and pick it up. I'm like, wait a second, did he pick up everything? Like I don't even know. It's like I wasn't paying attention. So it's like you gotta. Sometimes I'm like racing him to get the stuff to like I gotta make sure I picked up everything. And also like he has this bit early on where he needs to steal supplies for you because you ran out of food and water. And this gag is he dresses as Santa Claus, but no one acknowledges because there's no, as far as I understand, there's no Santa Claus in their world. He just looks like Santa Claus, but everyone else is like, looks like, what the hell are you wearing, dude? And he goes around because he says like if he gets caught, it's easier for him to talk his way out of getting caught, like being like thrown in jail or something. They'll let him like go with like a slap on his wrist because he looks like Santa Claus, even though they don't call him Santa Claus. I'm like, what is this? Like, it's so weird, but it's like funny. I mean, it's goofy, I guess, not funny. It just, it gets a chuckle.
Yeah.
I
Damiani, you gotta tell me, have you encountered the swimmers?
The swimmers?
Yeah. Have you gotten to the swimmers at all?
What? Wait. Is this an enemy type? Because I'm bad with names.
It's a very specific group of guys. There's like.
Are they like the smokers from Waterworld?
I mean, I've come across some bandit groups that like they each have like their different like.
There's 3 sons and a father, and they're all in speedos and have.
No, I've not come across that one. I've come across a few other ones. One was in like the demo I've already seen, and then I came across like another one I hadn't seen, but I'd not seen that one yet.
Okay, so that's interesting because they come up fairly early in the story. So I
wonder
but the way that they fill this out is interesting to me. What I've seen the footage here.
Okay, yeah, I wonder if they're maybe at a different spot that I went, because you do have like the crit paths, but like you get a lot of like side activities that you could go try and do. A few of them, like the symbol for them is kind of similar to the main story symbol. I have caught myself going towards something that looks like the main symbol, and I'm like, oh, this ended up just being like a side quest. And I was like, oh, I didn't go like that way. So I have caught that. There's also like, when you unlock towers, there's just like a lot on the screen, the map screen sometimes. And I'm like, it seems like it's overwhelming, but when you're actually looking, it's a little underwhelming because, I mean, they're going for the vibe of like a desert and a wasteland. It's not a lot out there. And then you'll come across something and there's like actually a lot there all of a sudden. And it feels like in between spots, it's like those few like small encampments and then like dinosaurs. There's like dinosaurs roaming around. You fight so many dinosaurs, like pterodactyls, like T-Rex looking things. And there's like, they're constant, like the scorpion looking things. They're just like everywhere. And it's just like, you're in your tank or whatever, you're like, boom, firing a rocket up, boom, they're dead, boom, they're dead. It's like, I mean, there's some stronger ones. I came across like a T-Rex like boss thing that started like charging me and almost one-shot me with its head battering ram me, and it knocked me back. It spun me out. I was like, okay. So there are enemies that are too strong to mess with, and they'll give you a symbol warning. And so if you go after those things, they will wreck you. Because I was like, this game, it's not too challenging. They're difficulty options. So I was like thinking about maybe cranking it up. And I was like, let me take on one of these really hard enemies, so-called. I'm like, I was like, okay, not. They're not lying. They do wreck you. Yeah, they're like battering ramming me and then shooting giant fireballs at me. Like they go super fast. Whereas like a lot of other things don't shoot. There's like the flying thing with the flying water tanker fight was kind of cool. Like some of the combat boss fights get pretty, intriguing. Like you gotta like hide, like line of sight. You gotta break its line of sight. But then like you're a tank, so like you can't shoot it because it's too high. So you gotta get elevation. You gotta go up like these sand dunes and get it. And then like you do a really crazy thing when they like you think they're so smart, like we're just gonna fly above you. You can't shoot straight above. And that's like, okay, well, they're gonna obviously figure something out to do that, right? So yeah, it's like it's like it's passable combat. Like I don't think it's, it's not like Armored Core level for the mech vehicle stuff. It's not like character action like Stellar Blade or like Devil May Cry or even like Final Fantasy 16 level of combat. Like, it's like nothing going in that. It's not quite that. It's not even like Tales style. It's like very basic. It actually reminded me a little bit of, what you talked about with the new Mana game.
Yeah.
Visions of Mana. It felt a little bit like it was more in like that vein, honestly. But like, I think, as I said, a good, probably Swimming in Semen's vibe is what I'm getting from it.
You sold me on it.
Yeah, I think Huber, I think you're gonna enjoy it. I just don't know how long it is because I feel like this game needs to be like 20-ish hours.
Yeah, don't wear out its welcome.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game that could easily wear out its welcome if it drags on for too long.
Yeah, sure. And hopefully it doesn't, but it does. To me, like just from what you're describing and the fact that you haven't like seen some of the like bigger beats yet, it does feel like they've kind of like fleshed out a world around it, which is really interesting. Because I think that like the game like looks surprisingly close to the show. It's really nice.
I looked at the trophy list and I saw where it ends. I mean, you've seen there's like another environment, and it apparently ends pretty shortly after getting into. There's less trophies in that environment than in the desert environment. So I'll say that like it's like 2/3 of it's in the desert, and maybe the last third is in the other environment. And I don't know anything about the manga about how far it goes. If that's like the only I don't know, but yeah, I'm also curious if any parts of the desert get a little bit like different looking because you do go through canyons. They get like kind of like close, a little bit claustrophobic feeling. Then there's like really open, just like sand dudes. And then, as I said, there's like bases. Like it's very Mad Max vibes. Like you come across like rundown towns that are like barely hanging on. So it's it like has those interesting looking environment like spots. And I think they're doing as well as they can with like a desert environment and sticking mostly to that, I would say.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Sick.
We've got more to come. But if you've been enjoying this show so far, please take a second to like and subscribe and ring that bell over there on YouTube. And if you're on one of the podcast apps, leave us a review. Give us some feedback over there as well. It helps us and it helps you stay connected. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way up to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify is there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify has got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. I love that Shopify is there to scale with you from the ground up, and they are there with all the tools you'll ever need to help you on your journey. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States, and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to help support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/allies, all lowercase. That is shopify.com/allies. Go there now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify, SHOPIFY, shopify.com/allies. Check it out.
And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you. All right, next up, it's my turn again. I did a review on this, Tales of Kenzera Zao. So I won't go too long on it because I talked about it when the demo came out as well. But this is a really, really cool project. It was revealed at the Game Awards. EA Originals is publishing this indie game from Surgeon Studios, who's brand new, headed up by Abu Bakr Salim, who is in Assassin's Creed Origins as Bayek. And I guess he's also in House of the Dragon and some other stuff. But this whole story of him making the game is like really impactful, and then it plays into the game story as well. But basically, like it is a story about losing your father and having to cope with that and deal with that, and it mirrors his own real life story. Yeah, and he's also put out like the week before launch, he put out a documentary, a 13-minute documentary that kind of goes into his story and backstory and everything about it. And that's really powerful. I recommend checking that out as well. And then just like I was in like a preview session a couple weeks before the game came out too, where they kind of talked through everything, and just like the idea of like a Metroidvania being a structure to convey grief is just like something that like was not even in my head, right? But like every little bit of this is thought through. And then the other thing that was, I was really looking forward to with this is just having something that explores more African culture and mythology and all of this. And like, they bring up Bantu myths, and like, man, I don't have the words. Like, I don't even know, like, Bantu is not a word that I've heard before they started telling me about the game, right? But like all of these different people groups and stuff in this culture, and how they look at life and the afterlife and spirits and and shamans and it's just really cool. But it was also really challenging for me to like write about this and put my thoughts together on like why it's connecting to me, because on the other hand, it's like, well, it's a Metroidvania, and and it plays like a Metroidvania. You go through the world and you get different powers and stuff like that, but it's also like maybe like on a little bit more of a basic level compared to some other games in the genre, because it's a really crowded genre right now.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that like kind of surprised me is that like I got to like the end of Act 1, and I went and did some side things, and like looking at the map, and like realizing like, oh, like I've 100%ed the map
nice
in Act 1 before I even gone on to Act 2. And so to me, it's like, that's like, it's more straightforward, but is that good or is that bad? Because it's like one of the things that is always cool with me in a Metroidvania is like coming back to those original areas with new powers and being able to do new things. And that's why like I feel like the first power that you get is like one of the strongest powers, because what it allows you to do is it allows you to freeze like the rivers and the waterfalls, and then you can like wall jump on waterfalls.
That's cool.
It was just really cool. And so it's like really transforms the way you look at the spaces. And then some of the other abilities, it's like, okay, I've got a spear that I can throw, and like it'll like light up buttons, that power doors and stuff. And it's like, okay, it's like a lock and a key kind of thing, very clearly, and then you can use the spear in combat as well, but it wasn't my favorite thing to do. But the like base powers is pretty cool, because you have like two masks. So you have a sun mask and a moon mask. And so with the basic moon attacks are like a little blaster, and then you've got like a shotgun for your heavy.
Awesome.
And then with the sun attacks, you've got like two spears, so that's like your melee, and then your heavy like knocks them up in the air, and you can switch between them like nice and quickly. So like you can knock a guy up in the air and then blast and juggle him.
Nice.
And then, but yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like some of the combat stuff, like I felt sort of by the end was starting to feel like a little bit on the repetitive side, because you get into like these rooms where it's like, okay, walls come up, and now just like kill all the guys in this room. And like after a few waves of that, it's like, okay, this feels very like predictable for like what I'm gonna do.
Got it.
The nice thing is that some of the later powers really, I think, kind of change up some of those dynamics and stuff, so that like you're not like doing a bunch of small attacks. Like you can just like smash through a guy's shield and stuff. But But yeah, so it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I think I was telling you guys this last week, where it's like, this is a game that I think people should play, but I also think it's a 7.5, so it's really hard to communicate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the premise and just the setting and the world, and obviously his passion and his own experience maybe are helping it rise above, like punching, I don't want to say punching above its weight, it's kind of mean, but it just seems like that's the reason we should all play this game.
Right.
Versus it actually being a really good game. Like, it seems like a fine game, but everything on the outside and the story and everything is what's really compelling me to
and the world, like,
it.
one of the things that did impress me is the backgrounds. Because, like, you look out into any environment, even something like that you would think would be very simple and, like, kind of what Damiani, you were saying in Sandland, like, oh, you go into a cave and just, like, rock walls or whatever. But no, like, in this, like, every environment has, like, interesting stuff going out into the distance, and you can kind of, like, get that, like, visual storytelling of, like, what happened here, what were people doing here. There's one place, like, you know, when you get to, like, you know, even though it's like stereotypical lava stage later on, but it's like, no, you see like rivers of lava like going through villages and houses and stuff.
Whoa.
And it's like, yeah, it's like there's just some really cool things with the setting that they do, and like every little like sort of trinket and like lore stone and stuff that you pick up, or like even the abilities, like they have meaning. Like the new Metroidvania abilities you get are tied to shamans from the past.
I love that.
You know, and it's like, and when you pick it up, then, you know, Kalunga, who's the god of death that's accompanying you, he like tells you kind of like the story behind the shaman and like basically like the origin story for this power.
Nice.
And so that's one thing that I was kind of thinking of, like, in hindsight, is like, it would be cool if there was like one power that was like just uniquely Zhao's, that like he had a moment where like he created his own power and then kind of contributed to that legacy. But
next one.
Yeah, maybe that's a sequel thing. Because I think in a way, like, that setup kind of does like help fight back against the Metroidvania sequel problem, right? It's like when you get a new game and it's like, why are all your powers gone?
Right, yeah.
Well, if you became a new character and then like you got the, you know, some of those same powers because those powers came from your predecessors, it would make sense, you know. But another thing I really like is the mobility in this game. You get double jump and air dash and wall jumps right off the bat. You don't have to unlock them at all. You can just do that. And it makes the game feel really quick and agile.
I kind of like earning that, though, in a Metroidvania. You know what I mean? That's like always such an epic moment when you get that double jump. It's like, now I have the double jump. Now
I think it really works here. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Now I can either like progress forward with my double jump or go back and do cleanup. Like I love that.
But also we have so many Metroidvanias that, you know, it's nice to get some variety in there. Like getting ones where you have your traversal mechanics, but it's like maybe some special abilities or enhancements to, like, that's the thing. Like I don't want to feel too stiff in like my traversal, like for too long. So I need motion to feel good even in the early hours of a Metroidvania. Otherwise, I think that's kind of a detriment. So, and it's probably more impressive if you can give a lot of those advanced or expected traversal mechanics out of the gate and then build upon them to create, you know, more unique scenarios that I think that's maybe a little bit more different, because everyone expects you to get wall jump, double jump, like run real fast thing,
phase
air dash. Yeah, like where are you going to get these things? And it's like, oh, there's that spot going to get to. Oh, I'm obviously going to do this. But like coming up with something completely different and unique and able to, how do I reach there? Which is like something I liked about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Yes, it didn't give you all of these things, but it also had other abilities like, oh, even if I had all these abilities, I'm not getting up there because I need something totally different, unique. So it's impressive. And but also the point was that like Metroidvanias, I think, are just evergreen and timeless, and you can never have too many of them, honestly.
I agree.
I feel like it's a great genre to pick and like come out at any time, because I can see people saying like, well, this should have like waited a little bit after Prince of Persia. I'm like, nah, like it's fine. Like like Metroidvania has like a shelf life of like a week or two, and then like you move on to like the next one, and like people like that. They want to move on to that. So like I think it's like
we also got
a nice time to come out
year too, which is really sick.
Yes, yes, exactly. And there's one other one I forgot. What was the like retro one?
Momodora.
Was that it? Yeah, maybe it was it. But yeah, they're just always coming out, and yeah.
I really dig it. Like I said, I got some things with it just being a little straightforward or basic, but at the same time, it's like it's their first game.
Yeah.
Like putting a team together and going through that journey and like making that happen and like getting EA to back you, like it's a lot.
It's epic.
It's a lot to do. And so I'm really glad that it's out there and hope that it's gonna do well. And now for something completely different, Isla, pools.
Pools.
I love bringing this game up. It's so weird.
Listen, what is there to say about pools? It's weird, and you walk around pools.
You walk around pools that look very like real pools that like you would see in like a YMCA.
Can you play pool in a pool?
Not so far in what I've seen.
That would be cool.
It seems like it's really trying to be like hyper realistic, high frame rate, like make you feel like you're in a real spot, right?
Yeah, it
doesn't.
Graphically is very you immediately feel like you're not in a real spot because just like even when this game is playing it, quote unquote realistic, it's still like no one would build a building like this, so there are maybe 6 levels. I got to level 4. It's not a long game, but I got to level 4 and wound up back at the start like 3 times, and I was like, okay, it's maybe doing this on purpose. But yeah, it's funny because for a girl who has some mechanophobia and is terrified of man-made structures in water, I found this game like weirdly alluring. Mm-hmm. Because I'm above water. Like, there are definitely parts that I found pretty creepy, but to me, it's like there's no like barnacles and shit. Right. So like that and the like green light is like what freaks me out, I think, the most. So like this is actually like it's the right level of creepy and weird for me that like, I enjoy this kind of thing where you're waiting for the next thing, like you're waiting for something weird to be around the corner. And in the B-roll right now, it's showing like there's a dark room with some giant rubber duckies in it, and like, you can get kind of spooked, but coming around a corner and seeing like, what's that? And you're like, oh, it's a big rubber ducky. Okay. There are a few things that I encountered that moved or were strange. So it definitely like there's stuff going on, and there's it's not just walking around. Like there's a part with a maze, and if you're paying attention, you can find a thing that's like, here's how you get through this maze, earlier, which I was proud of myself for having taken a picture of that when I saw it, because I was like, that seems like something I want to look at. It's pools. That's, pools. Check it out. It's weird. You walk around.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks so just unique and cool. The visual style just draws you in.
Yeah.
Every time I see that game.
Chat, oh my God.
Immersive.
Yeah.
Literally.
An immersive swim.
Nice. Nice.
All right, let's move on to some things that happened this week. Starting with the showcase for Metaphor ReFantazio. Fantazio, I don't know. They keep saying metaphor without saying the second word.
Bad name. It's a bad name.
Sure. I don't know.
It's a bad name. Calling it out.
I think it's fine. It stands out.
Games like this all have names like this.
Yeah. This is true.
Like fucking 384 over 2/3, 16th of an eighth days. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. But yeah, they did a full-on 25-minute deep dive. They revealed it's coming out October 11th.
Goaty.
This game is looking really.
It's gonna be goaty.
Really freaking good.
Yep.
Yeah. And basically, Persona team and friends
Yeah.
Making a fantasy RPG rather than, what they would refer to as a modern RPG. And they even were talking about, with the composer, Shoji Meguro, like challenging him to go beyond like the pop stuff that he's usually does, the pop and jazz, and like do some other stuff. And like, like the things that I'm like hearing, like even with the songs that they put in this showcase, and like I don't even like, you got some crazy vocals going on here that I don't even know what to define that as.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool.
One of the big things is just like who's making this game. Why are we hyped? It's a friggin' Persona in my mind are some of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah.
Like I'll go that far. So a new project from them is really exciting.
And creating this whole crazy world. Oh, this was a nonsense thing. Like what? So it starts off. Apparently, our world is their fantasy. And you start the game with like these philosophical questions about fantasy and stuff. Like,
hell yeah,
let's go. You just start with like, hey, let's get to know you.
Scheming man.
It's a metaphor. I mean, I'm just glad to have like this type of setting from this team. Like, it's fantasy, but we've seen certain subgenres of fantasy that they've done. Like, obviously, everything they've done is fantasy, but like this is more like Western, like medieval influence, but like not all the way. Like you still see the general SMT trope still like, seeping in here. And it's like this like really nice fusion on top of like, dude, like some of the best in the biz with the stylistic like menus and UI. Like it's just so insane. Like even like the smallest side menus in that presentation, just oozing personality. It's like that. There you go. Like nothing goes unnoticed by them, or it seems like too small to be elevated up. That helps also elevates everything else around it. I think that's like just it's part of the personality. Like people, I feel like are drawn to this game for one of the many reasons they're drawn to these games.
Yeah, well, I think too, what's really great is it's allowed them to do like just a whole new range of like creature designs and stuff, right? Because like one thing with the SMT and Persona series is like there's a lot of those familiar guys that I don't even know if they feel obligated in a way to like, oh, we've got to bring them back. We gotta, have Jack Frost, and all of these things. And here it's like, no, whole new world, make some crazy monsters.
So creatively liberating too.
Yeah. They've got Kota Kazuma from Nier Automata doing some of the background stuff. They're talking about the capital city. He did like they did the backgrounds for that city, and then Ikuto Yamashita from Neon Genesis Evangelion doing a lot of the mech work. Sick. Including the crazy mobile base that you're in.
Yeah, love that thing.
Yeah, that's like running through the wasteland.
So Mortal Engines. So cool. That's what it should have been.
Jeez.
But there's a lot of cool stuff tied with that. They really talked a few times about wanting to keep the pace up and not do things that would like bore you. And so like when you're in a city, they're talking about like you can just go to the map and like fast travel to different points within the city or whatever. While at the same time, there's this still like similar to Persona, there's like a calendar kind of thing going on towards like if you are going to travel, traveling is a thing. And it's going to take you time to go from one city to another city. And they talked about like having itineraries and how much time you're going to spend here and all of that.
It's never enough time.
Yeah.
Never enough time to raise all the bonds. I got to choose.
And the bonds is like another big part of it too. They talked about, so like instead of personas, you have archetypes, which are like job classes, but you can transform into these different archetypes. So they're talking about like, you have like a mage, and you have like a brawler, and a knight, and a warrior, and these different job types. And not only do you have the job types for your main party, but like as you create bonds with other characters, you learn, because it's like something in your soul, right? Like you have like this heroic archetype in your soul, and so like they're shaking their hand and like this like the blood vessels between them, and like, oh, you've learned the brawler from this character now because you've gotten an affinity with them.
Too busy pushing pencils.
But what's cool with that too is that like they're saying that you can really mix it up with your party, because they're saying that like it's not just that like you have to have like, oh, a brawler is equipped to this guy so nobody else can equip it. It's like, no, you want a full team of brawlers, just equip it to everybody. And so it'll be interesting to play around with like what those different dynamics can be.
Yeah.
And then the other thing with like the base, like while it's running through the wasteland, you can be cooking a meal. You can be talking to some folks. You could be reading a book. Go out on the deck and take a bath.
It's so. I get obsessed with that stuff, you know, especially in Persona. Just like those downtime moments are so fun. That's the stuff I love the most. It's like, especially if the game is like challenging and you go through a bunch of battles or whatever, and then you can just like chill out, build some bonds, cook some food. Like, I live for those little moments in between all the chaos.
Yeah. And then, with the combat system, they showed like there's a mix of like some like action-y kind of combat.
Yeah, you love this.
When you're walking around, a dungeon, you can scan enemies, right? Because there's tons of enemies, and they're talking about even like in the opening area, like you don't want to do a lot of these fights because they will just wreck you.
Yeah.
But you can see like whether an enemy is like kind of blue or yellow, or I think there's probably a red beyond that. But the blue guys, you can just run up and slash them.
Yeah.
And that's it. And like you get your XP and your gold or whatever. But then like the yellow, then it's like, okay, you call your squad in, and then you go into the battle screen.
Real deal.
And you fight them like with the turn-based combat. So it's really nice to mix that stuff together, and it goes back to what they were saying about like we really want to like cut out the stuff that feels like a waste of your time.
Nice.
You know, and that's like one of the things is like, oh, I'm just gonna fight these guys and I know I'm gonna beat them, and so like what's the why am I waiting for this thing to load up?
Persona 5 took me 100 hours and it still wasn't enough, but I imagine for a lot of people that's intimidating, a game that long, you know? So maybe they're like clearly
Hubert, this tavern with the informant. Did you catch that?
No.
There's like a guy, when you go to the tavern, there's a guy in there that like you buy information from.
Oh, hell yeah.
Kind of like the girl in the Alley and Stellar Blade.
Yeah, information brokers, all about it. The florist chat, the best information broker of all time.
They also said there's going to be a lot more dungeons in this. They're going to have the main dungeons, but there also is going to be side dungeons as well.
Nice. Love side dungeons.
As long as they're not too long.
Persona 5 dungeons got very long.
Yeah.
And also, you know, sometimes in their games, the dungeons aren't always that interesting, but it sounds like that's something they're trying to address. So, like, it really feels like they really want you to not feel like you're wasting your time at any point in this game. So I'm very curious how that's all going to play out.
Yeah.
What else? I think we're pretty good.
Definitely one to watch for on the GOTY lists, no doubt. I mean, the expectations are high on my end. I think it should be high for most people, considering the pedigree of people working on this. They've been cooking it for a while.
Yeah.
That October release date always screams award season date as well.
Also, they said that it was the Atlas 35th anniversary, so this is like their anniversary game.
So cool.
And they said starting in June that there will be hands-on demos. So
Keely.
Summer Game Fest.
Keely.
We're going to be playing this thing?
Yeah, for sure. Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. I'm curious when they say demos, whether any of those will be like downloadable demos and when that'll happen.
Yeah.
But the way this was like the context of it, I think they're probably talking about events and stuff in the summer.
Yeah.
So.
Such a cool thing when the shows have demos released at home so everyone can just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. Sick. All right. Next up, in Embracer news, Embracer's making some friends. I'm making fun of their nonsense naming here. So basically, To catch you up somewhat, if you haven't been following this whole journey, the Embracer Group previously bought tons and tons of companies, only to lose a deal, run out of money, then have to turn around and sell companies, shut down studios, issue layoffs for 1,400 people. But a couple weeks ago, they said that their restructuring plan was almost coming to an end. And now this week, they've announced that they are splitting the Embracer Group into 3 separate companies, all still owned by Lars Wingefers. And this is going to happen over the course of like the next year or so. It'll be 2025 before this is finished. But each of these...
This gives me like dummy shell corporation vibes already. I trust nothing Embracer does.
We'll get into the explanation, but it is definitely gives me those vibes a little bit as well. But each one of these companies is going to have its own CEO as well. So there's the Asmodee Group, which is going to cover tabletop games. That's the tabletop group. Coffee Stain and Friends, which is going to cover indie to AA titles. And then Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends, which I'm just calling MEEF right now.
MEEF. Oh, my God.
They're going to have the big AAA properties like Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider. So diving a little bit deeper onto those, Asmodee has 23 tabletop studios, 300 IP. If you could believe that there are that many.
300?
Yeah, Asmodee has actually been around for a long time. They're like a big European board game company.
They are giving Asmodee the 900 million euros of debt. Pretty much all of the debt is going to the Asmodee Group.
What?
Yeah. And the basic reasoning comes down to the banks and the investors. So he's saying that
What?
Well, for one, he's saying that Embracer went into debt because they bought Asmodee in the first place. But he says banks love them. Banks love Asmodee because board games are stable and predictable, and they don't like the volatility of AAA games. So he's like, AAA games shouldn't have any debt whatsoever. And Asmodee can deal with the debt, and they can pay it off, and it won't be a problem. Now, there's also the other potential that they could just sell Asmodee and leave that debt to somebody else's problem, and then they're debt free. He didn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because hey, you guys got the debt. Take a hike. Someone else can take that.
That is wild. The hell.
Coffee Stain will have 2 divisions. The premium division includes THQ Nordic, about 200 IP. And that includes like Goat Simulator, Wreckfest, Teardown, Valheim.
Yo, Wreckfest, shout out.
Yeah. And then there's the free-to-play side that's going to include like the Sudoku puzzle games, Neverwinter Online, Star Trek Online. Then MEEF. Middle-earth Enterprises.
Oh, I hope that catches on.
Includes Crystal Dynamics, IDOS, Dambuster, Flying Wild Hog. I feel like they got an upgrade. It's like, oh, you're the AAA guys now? Sick. Tripwire, Play On, Dark Horse Comics and Limited Run, I guess are going to be in there. And then games that includes like Tomb Raider, Metro, Dead Island, and Kingdom Come Deliverance, which like apparently 250 people working on that sequel.
Jeez.
So stock rose 18% after this announcement. So that's a big part of it too, because it's like one of the reasons that they were in trouble is because they lost the deal and then the stock just like whoop, went down.
Yeah.
And then, let me see what else there is in there. But I think that's like the long and the short of it.
Everything they do makes me nervous, Blood.
Yeah. Quote from Lars. The public markets are very cynical, and my learning is they only believe in execution. So what I will say to the new management teams is don't talk too much, just deliver, and it will sort itself out. So at least I could agree with that much.
Yeah, Chad is also saying that those names are probably not final, but we don't know.
Yeah, Don was saying something about that.
Yeah,
I didn't
Don was
see
saying
that
that
quote
too.
about them not being final, but that's interesting.
It is. So they're gonna make a Lord of the Rings game, probably, or what's going on there?
I mean, before they said that they will exploit Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So
Middle Earth and Friends clearly exploiting the name, just like right
They
at
could
the
exploit
top.
it by selling it to Amazon for a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they're like pinning all of their AAA stuff, then they're not. Like that's the thing that they want to keep.
Can't they can't the whole thing, not just IP, but like that division now are they allowed to be acquired by another company?
I mean, sure.
So they want to get gobbled up by Amazon, since Amazon has all the other Lord of the Rings stuff. So like they get that Amazon financing.
But part of it is if they're the licenser, then they can get the Amazon money without selling it, and then they can get the next person's money, and then the next person's money, and so. But.
Just everything about it, this whole saga, it just is depressing because we always talk about how the video game industry is a business. Of course, it's you're buying games, you're spending money to make games, whatever. But like everything Embracer does, I don't feel a single ounce of passion whatsoever. Clearly, just numbers, business, shareholders, money, like that is it. So anything they do, I'm going to be very skeptical about.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the guy who runs the Lars or whatever, wasn't he like the THQ Nordic guy?
THQ Nordic was basically how the Embracer Group started.
Right. I feel like that's such a funny story because I feel like that came from like, he was like a folk hero, grassroots kind of thing in the old days, right?
Well, I mean, that was like when Embracer was starting, like that was the whole, like the idea was like, we'll just make a bunch of AA stuff that's in the market. But, he's saying that, partly the market has changed a lot in the last couple of years, and that's kind of what like caught them off guard. But also it's just like, they were just running the merger and acquisitions train too hard. And
economic headwinds.
Those economic headwinds, dude, they'll get you.
Yeah.
The headwinds are strong, dude. Gotta go stay on the leeward side.
Last big headline. This one sucks so bad.
No.
LittleBigPlanet's unceremonious deaths.
What?
Have you not heard about this?
No.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, this is a big deal.
No.
So
God.
on Friday,
why do I show up to this?
The official LittleBigPlanet account posted that after a technical issue that happened in January, brought down the LittleBigPlanet 3 servers, they're like, basically, it's like, well, we're just going to give up. It's not going to be fixed. It's never coming back online.
No,
So
dude.
now, without warning, essentially, like 16 years of LittleBigPlanet stuff is just now inaccessible. Like you could make stuff offline. You can keep playing stuff that you've already downloaded, but you're not going to be able to share or download anything else.
There's got to be a way.
Well, there's got to be like a way, but they don't want to pay for it.
There's got to be like a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or something.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, and so it really, really sucks because it's like because people were just like dogging Nintendo for shutting off the
this
the
is
Wii
game
U and 3DS
preservation.
stuff.
This is it. Like this is part of that.
Nintendo gave people like a 3-year heads up on this, so everybody was like going
Downloading
all out with
everything.
Mario Maker stuff, and and doing big celebration streams, and get it while it lasts, and at least like even if it's just like on video, just back it up on video, right?
Yeah.
Just like make sure that we check out every single Mario Maker level we can. But with LittleBigPlanet, it's like, yeah, that thing that happened a couple months ago, we're not turning it back on. And I don't know, like they didn't go into detail like what the technical issue was.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I
know they had gotten before they had like had an attack. Somebody had like done an attack on the servers. So I don't know if it was necessarily the same thing this time or something else.
So annoying. Why are you attacking LittleBigPlanet?
Right.
What the hell?
Right.
It's an old game. It's not bothering anybody. What are you doing?
Yeah, what did Sackboy do to you?
Yeah, what the heck? Dang.
And like,
does this impact Dreams?
No, it's because LittleBigPlanet at this point was being run by Sumo Digital, who did 3.
Right.
And they had made it so that it was compatible with all the old levels from the first 2 games, but it was basically, I think those had already gone because of PS3 and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's So Dreams and Media Molecule, like I know I'm worried about Media Molecule because I don't know what they're doing right now. I know they're like drumming up their next project, building up for that. But
shout out to Tearaway, dude. That game was
the
underappreciated. I really
out.
enjoyed that.
Dude, shout out. And shout out to Sackboy's Big Adventure.
Yeah, weirdly good
fun.
game.
Yeah,
that was a different team too.
Yeah.
But it, it just brings me back to like that legacy.
Yeah.
Right. Like because sure, it's like you had
Sackboy's cool.
Level editors and mods and stuff. Going back decades on PC, but there really was nothing like this on a console on this level.
Bud. Such a great call.
Like it was definitely a defining moment when they came out there and it's like play, create, share.
Totally.
And
Chad is saying that Media Molecule had a bunch of layoffs a few months ago too. Yeah.
Yeah. Around the times that they ended talking about ending Dreams support for new content. They're still online and all that.
Yeah.
But moving on to the next project. But yeah, like I mean, how much time did you put into messing around with that stuff?
LittleBigPlanet?
Yeah.
So much. I played all three of them all the way. I don't dabble as much in created content. I like just whatever Media Molecule or Sumo's cooking up. But I did mess around for, a fair amount.
Yeah.
Love LittleBigPlanet.
Yeah. Remember
such good co-op games.
Yeah, and remember how like a lot of the levels would just be like, here's like a quick thing and like just get all of the items.
Yeah, some Brandon Jones Disney Infinity shit for sure.
It was definitely a tricky thing to keep up with, but it was fun to see like what people would do.
Yeah, I loved all the crossover skins too. I had like Old Snake. Sackboy.
Yeah, that was one of the first like really like hardcore Sony skin games.
Yeah. So cool. Dang. Yeah, that's a major bummer.
Yeah. Also this week, not a bummer, Dylan Cuthbert of Q Games is teasing new announcement coming up in the next couple of weeks. So we should be looking forward to what's next for the Pixel Junk series.
Hell yeah. Pixel Junk.
Pixel Junk. He's teasing. He's got something
Return to
coming.
form, baby. Let's go.
Sick. All right. Pixel Junk Monsters. Still my favorite.
Dude. Shooter was good too. Monsters is the best though.
So fun. Because I feel like 2 wasn't too long ago. So I don't know if it'd be time for a 3.
Yeah, well, they did a Stadia exclusive as well, and that's one like I never like.
Stadia.
That's right.
When it went off Stadia, or I never really got to get around to it, check it out.
Yeah.
They had a beat 'em up too.
Yeah.
You know what they need, dude? Pixel Junk Dig.
Pixel Junk Dig.
I'd play that.
SteamWorld and Pixel Junk would be a fun crossover.
Dude.
Yeah. So very curious because like that series, well, kind of like SteamWorld. Like you don't know what genre it's gonna be.
Yeah.
When you say we got a new game coming, it's like,
what the heck is it gonna be?
What is it?
Am I gonna be like scooping up trash or tower defense?
I really liked Pixel Junk Shooter.
Shooter's so fun.
Yeah, Shooter.
Loved Pixel Junk Eden.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't as big a fan of Eden
dude.
2.
Yeah. Eden was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like PS3, like
PS3.
early days.
Yeah.
Roll this. We knew about this coming, but we hadn't seen it until this week. We've got our first trailer of Tales of the Shire.
Is Embracer anywhere near this?
I don't know. This deal went down before that, so I don't think Embracer has any ties to
Lord
it.
of the Rings has gotten so scattered, dude.
I
It's
know.
so crazy.
But this is from
scrapping in it and selling it for parts.
Yeah.
Just like.
But this is Weta.
This is Weta. This is from Weta Digital.
Wow.
With Private Division Publishing. And it is just a cozy life sim Animal Crossing Shire game.
Blood, this is the game I wanted 20 years ago. No joke. When I was watching Lord of the Rings at my buddy's house, we would put it on, all the movies, and play poker online or like poker in the garage with Lord of the Rings playing like every day. Could have really gone for this.
Yeah.
Forage Friendships is very cute.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna get any annoying busybodies, but they've put a lot of the stuff that you would expect,
Shire,
getting furniture and stuff and beefing up your house.
Top
fishing.
10 places of all time in any medium is the Shire.
Yeah.
Dude, this looks cozy as hell.
Yeah.
I hope that like the big like end game thing is planning a birthday party.
I love the seasons. Well, actually,
Big birthday party.
There is sort of like that, Isla. So you got gardening, you got decorating your home. They mentioned second breakfast with the ultimate goal of bringing the community together and achieving official village status by throwing the greatest Bywater festival the Shire has ever seen.
Oh, right. I just got goosebumps.
So yeah, you are literally building up to like throw a huge party.
Because
So
yeah,
cool.
of course you are. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, hobbits.
That's sick. 100 pages of Bilbo birthday party right now. Let's go.
Second half of this year on everything: PC, PlayStation, Switch, Xbox.
Nice. That last one was actually pretty fun when we streamed it. The Mines of Moria
Mine one.
Oh yeah.
That one was sick.
We were doing it wrong, but it seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, we were doing it wrong.
We've got a movie coming based on El Paso Elsewhere.
Dude, get it.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's so great.
Hopefully it's better than Max Payne. I'm sure it will be.
Low bar.
Very the lowest bar.
They're in talks with Lakeith Stanfield to play the leading role.
Perfect. Holy shit.
One of the goats.
He was in Knives Out and Atlanta.
Yep.
Coming from Bonaventura Pictures.
And Get Out, yeah.
Producing Transformers and G.I. Joe. They're credited to that, so I don't know about that.
Okay, that's weird, but all right. We're going in the wrong direction now.
Also, Colin Stark helping to produce, but I
Hey,
don't
G.I.
know
Joe has
anything about
sick
him.
action.
That's true.
Say what you will of those movies, the action scenes are sick.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, drugs and demons
Drugs and demons.
and lots of shooting. Go ahead and roll the trailer for House of Golf 2. There is a new studio in Liverpool headed up by the co-creator of Wipeout, Nick Burkholm, and Andy Santos, who co-created Skate, and he also worked on some of the Resident Evil games, as well as Horizon Call of the Mountain. So basically, ex-Sony folks here. They're working on several titles, including House of the Golf 2, which
looks
is a name that doesn't sound like much, but you watch this footage and this is cool.
Yeah, this looks sick. Shrunken down mini golf.
Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Golf.
When is this?
I don't know the
Give me
exact
this right
date,
now.
but it's
Jolly hoops.
not that far off.
Dude.
They are also
It's like Marble Madness meets Everybody's Golf.
Everybody's Golf,
No,
yeah.
what's the one that we played?
Yeah.
Golf with your friends.
Golf with your friends.
Summer.
Everybody's Golf.
It's a perfect summer game.
There was the multiplayer one.
Is it
That's Everybody's
Golf with
Golf.
friends.
Everybody's
or everywhere.
or golf with your friends.
Hot
Golf with their
Shots.
friends.
I'm not
What are
sure
you
which one
not-
you're thinking. of.
Not Everybody's
Which is
Golf,
it?
Hot Shots Golf, not that.
Right.
Golf with
not
your friends.
that.
So golf with your friends.
Golf with
with
your friends.
friends.
Yes.
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 How
Thank you.
many
Sorry.
times do we have to
Sorry.
say?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Also reminds me of monkey golf a little bit.
Yeah.
Monkey Golf?
Yeah, and
The Super Monkey Ball.
Golf.
Oh.
Yep.
the Wipeout guy is also going to be hitting up a futuristic sports game, which they showed us like some robot guys.
Bill and
but
Bear's
that's
Combat
it.
Basketball.
I don't know what that's
sorry.
going to be.
I'm freaking out. What is this game called?
That was House of Golf 2.
House of Golf 2. Where is House of Golf 1? Where can I
That's
play
my thing. I've never heard of
Yeah.
House
Right,
of
I haven't
Golf.
either.
Yeah.
There was no
I haven't
one.
either.
it? Do we just
I
go
would love
straight
that.
to 2?
We don't need to worry about one.
I want to play it. I want to play it right now. If it's that, it looks sick.
Okay, it's the third hit, House of Golf for Switch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it look similar? Same vibes? Same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in the living room and stuff.
Perfect.
When did this come out?
Yeah.
This is old looking.
Yeah.
Oh, 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
House of Golf.
House of Golf.
I'm
dude.
in there.
They're also working on a strategy, sci-fi, roguelite action experience.
Whoa.
Action experience.
Slow down.
Strategy, sci-fi, roguelite, action experience.
Okay.
That was my nickname in high school.
And they're also, they said they have their younger staff working on Fortnite stuff in Fortnite Creative.
Cool.
So they're doing like several of those.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Younger staff?
Let me find the
That's
exact
fun.
quote of what
That's
they
very
said.
funny.
Yo, having a game studio just like working on Fortnite creative modes, that's
Yeah.
smart. That's
Starlight
cool.
Games. I don't know if I actually said the name of the team, but let me see what they said about the Fortnite. Also in development are several Unreal Engine Fortnite experiences led by the team's young new talent.
Cool.
The first of which is Jungle Jam, which will launch at the end of April.
I'll check it out.
Jungle Jam.
I gotta remember that one.
House of Golf 1 was published by Atomicom. I'm not seeing Starlight Games here at all.
Yeah, Starlight
so
is a new studio.
Yeah. So it's funny that they have a 2.
Yeah, start a studio. House of Golf 2. Like, what?
House of Golf 2, dude, on the list.
There's another indie showcase coming Monday morning. ID at Xbox, exclusively on IGN.
Oh.
10 a.m.
Get it.
Okay.
Check that out.
Exclusive.
Could be ID at Xbox. That's good stuff.
Probably.
Yeah.
Will we see Hellblade again?
No.
Okay.
It will not be at ID at Xbox.
Okay.
That won't. Atari, for some reason, is relaunching the Infogrames brand as a new publishing label. And they have also, the first thing they're publishing, they acquired totally reliable delivery service from TinyBuild. And on the website, they said Infogram will build its portfolio primarily through acquisition. Over time, the portfolio may also include some of the legacy titles first published by Infogram. Consistent with Atari's approach, Infogram sees preservation as a core component of its mission. So they are gonna bring back some stuff, but it doesn't sound like they have any of their old stuff yet. It's a weird announcement.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Pretty sure Infogram.
What the hell? There's an S.
Yeah, but it's French.
Oh.
Infogram.
I've always said infograms.
Loop Hero is coming to mobile next week, so get ready to get back to looping.
Yeah.
Loop Hero, dude.
On mobile.
I'm pre-installing it right now.
Oh my.
Nice. Yeah, it's really going to destroy people when Balatro comes to mobile.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah.
PUBG doing the classic thing now. Go on the WoW route.
What?
They are re-releasing the original map where it all started,
Oh my god.
but with current gameplay tweaks.
Sure.
Erangel Classic recreates the initial version of Erangel, PUBG Battleground's first ever battleground, designed to evoke nostalgia for
Hell yeah.
players who remember the early access days.
When Fortnite did this, we all know how that went exceptionally well. The more people were playing Fortnite than ever before when that went down. And it's really cool that it's like there was a leak, maybe it was an announcement or a leak or something, but they're going to do Fortnite Classic again, but like a newer, like a season, a different season than they did before. So it is cool to just like revisit, because those games are always evolving and changing so much. So it's cool to go back.
Wizardry, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, that remaster of the original Wizardry game, will be complete and leaving early access on May 23rd, when it's also coming to consoles. I know nothing about Wizardry, but like this is one of those games where like I should probably play this.
Yeah, same.
Like this is essentially the game that inspired Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy and countless other RPGs. This is what it's all based off of. You know, one of the first games to ever like bring like D&D style mechanics onto a PC platform.
Yeah.
Into a video game. 1981.
Wow.
Another cool thing about this is actually running on the original Apple II game, and they just basically have a graphic tweak, like graphic update to it. But you can like put the original Atari interface on top of it, or not Atari, Apple II interface.
I love when they do that.
Yeah.
So
When is that?
May 23rd.
Man, that's coming out.
Yep, next month.
Little slice of history.
No BlizzCon this year.
No BlizzCon.
Whoa.
Doesn't sound like it's gone for good, but not this year.
Take a year off. Build it up.
Huber.
Yo.
Extreme G.
I know.
And Iggy's Wrecking Balls are now on the N64 Switch library.
So sick. I love Extreme G so much. I have been wanting this to come back for so long. Like I bring up Extreme G fairly often, and here it is. Here it is. We got to stream this.
Yeah.
We need to stream this. I demand it.
Okay.
I demand it.
Okay.
Okay. Tuesday. It's going down.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
Maybe before or after, maybe before group stream.
Cool.
Because after, I think we got showcase. So.
Cool. Break the sound barrier.
Break the sound barrier.
One of the coolest things in games.
We should check out Iggy's Wrecking Ball, too, because people are talking that up. And I can't remember if I've ever rented it or not. Like, maybe when I play it, I'll know for sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah, weirdo little game. And, yeah, great, like, third-party N64 games. There's not a lot of those on the Switch library.
Is Battle Tanks on there?
No.
We need Battle Tanks.
That's not there yet. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Beetle Adventure Racing would be great, but who knows if Volkswagen is ever going to go for that.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Pesky licenses.
Play this. Got this email from one of our patrons. Janet's Cool Games has revealed Undercroft, a cryptic puzzle-filled shoot-'em-up set in a crypt that doesn't want to be found.
Killed God. What?
Inspired by games like Tunic and Outer Wilds, the only thing gating your progress is the knowledge you gain of the world of Undercroft.
Whoa.
Say what now?
Yeah.
This is your game minus the shooting, probably.
I mean, well, if it's a shmup,
Yep.
Bullet Hell I suck. Shmup is not as bad, but we have killed God and knowledge-based puzzles. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah. So yeah, one of our patrons making this. Very cool.
Dude, it looks really cool.
Yeah, this looks sick.
I am so bad at Bullet Hell, though. So bad at it. But Outer Wilds, dude, like the greatest game ever made.
Heck yeah.
When's this one out?
I'm not sure. I think she just revealed it, so it might be a ways off.
Coming soon. Name.
It says coming soon at the end.
It's a cool name, Undercroft.
Yeah. Good stuff, Janet.
Janet makes games. Good company.
Janet's Cool Games.
Oh, even better.
All right. It is time for Love and Respect.
Love and respect.
From Hector. From Cuba with love and respect. I've been living in the States for about 15 years now, and I've been a hardcore gamer since I was a kid. This was the early 90s, so do the math. The other day, a coworker that knows I'm Cuban and that I like video games asked me if I knew about the first Cuban indie game, and he showed me a clip. The game in question is Saviorless.
No way.
And I had not heard about it, but it immediately looked familiar. Upon some research, I realized that I know the designer.
Whoa.
He was a friend of a friend, and we used to hang out when we were teenagers.
Cool.
Back then, both my friend and the game creator were attending a designer school. Seeing the style of the game, I almost immediately recognized his style of drawing.
That is cool.
So, my question is, have any of you found out by accident that a person you know was making a great game? Also, have any of you played a game created in a place you were surprised about? Love and respect, Hector from Miami.
Just recently, actually. It's hilarious.
Yeah?
I was at Costco getting milk.
Unhinged.
For my grandpa, dude. My grandpa goes through that milk. Just crazy. But I was checking out, and I saw my friend's mom working there. And we were like chatting or whatever. And I was like, oh, how's like so-and-so? You know, they had 3 sons. And I was friends with the older son. They had 2 younger sons as well. And it turns out one of the younger sons works at Naughty Dog and was like worked on Last of Us and shit. I was like, whoa. Cool. So, yeah.
Damiani, you got any stories?
No. Unfortunately, I can't think of no. You
don't either?
That one.
No, I was just repeating Damiani. Like half my friend group makes games.
I was about to say this is like the Isla question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like one of my best friends, Jason Wishnov. He's made games. He's
Shout out to the
games.
Wish.
Yeah.
The old Wish. You know, I should probably play one of his games. I never played it because my ex-girlfriend's in it. But yeah,
it's a found out by accident story that I think is.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like. It gets tricky when everyone you know makes games because it's like finding out they're making a game. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what you do. So nothing comes to mind.
Yeah, I've got a couple kind of similar to this. One, there's when I get money again, I'll be back out there. But I used to always go out to concerts and stuff. I was always out like. A couple of times a week, I'd be out at shows for local performances and stuff. People I know in LA. And one of the guys that played with one of my friends, he also worked at Naughty Dog.
Nice.
I just knew him because he was playing the drums for her, supporting her. And then similarly, I got to somehow I don't exactly know how I ended up. The whole connection went down. I don't remember the full order of events, but I got to know Austin Wintory through another singer that I know, who I was going to see shows all the time. I love her stuff. I love the bands that she was in and everything. And then I was just talking to her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my friend Austin, he writes for video games."
That's cool.
But that was still very early. That was around Journey time, I think.
Yeah.
But even now, it's even when the most recent time I talked to Austin at the Stray Gods concert, he's like, "I'll always remember you as that guy that somehow randomly knows Kaylee Chapman."
That's cool. Very cool.
I guess it happens more frequently for me where friends, I'll be of my voice actor friends that I didn't know they were in a thing, and I'll be like Helldivers 2. I was like, "Oh shit, that's Sarah."
That happens
they're
under
all
those crazy
the time.
NDAs.
Yeah.
Nobody can say anything until a week after the game is out.
Yeah, and it's funny. Most of my friends, even if they tell me stuff, I'm not going to repeat it. But people are generally good about not breaking NDAs, and so a lot of times I'll just be like, "Oh shit, there you are." And then a lot of times I'm like, "Is that you?" And then they're like, "No," and I'm like, "Cool, sorry."
Shout out to Saviorless. Cool game.
Yeah.
Very short.
Yeah, that's why it was we were just talking about that game.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. From Harrison Holt McHale. Hey, allies. Last week, Tripwire Interactive announced a change of CEO as Alan Wilson moves into semi-retirement, and casually dropped that as of April 2024, Maneater has
baby.
sold 14 million copies.
Maneater, baby. Love Maneater.
The shark game?
Yes.
14 million copies?
14 million.
Hell
Whoa.
yeah. Well
and
done.
similarly, I don't know if you've seen Power Wash has done 12 million players now.
Damian,
I believe
rules.
Power Wash, yeah.
Damian, if Maneater can have 15 million, The
Oh,
Legend
God, here we
of
go.
Zelda can
Multi-platform
eclipse
game.
that.
Multi-platform game.
All right.
Multi-platform game.
190 million Switches, whatever.
And cheaper.
Whatever.
Anyways, so the question is, what kind of creature would you like to attach lasers to and wreak terror with next? So, yeah. What other animal would you like to become to go wreak havoc?
I got a few in my head. This is tough. This is tough.
They're coming to me quick.
Yeah, this is tough. How about a rat?
A rat.
A rat.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking about the space, of the game. When you're the shark, you're in the water, and you come up to the beach and whatever. If you're a rat, you can go a lot of places. You can go in people's houses. You can be in some attic. Come down and just
Feel the kill moments in that Huber for you. Have you seen every the Batman, Bad Boys 2, putting the rat on a person and eating it up? It's nope.
Yep.
Well, what's funny
cut
about
through your
that,
stomach.
Huber, is that it brings to mind for whatever reason, one of the big mechanics in Maneater is eating more and getting bigger until you're ridiculously huge.
So fun.
And so I'm thinking about with a rat, almost like a Katamari style.
Yeah.
Just become this gigantic rat.
Rat King, yeah.
New York or something.
Yeah.
Eat pizza to get bigger.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Go ahead.
the ones that came to mind were a cat or a rat like that. But then I was thinking about flipping it, and you're a snail with a laser, but you can't control when the laser fires, and you have to. It's actually dangerous for you because it sets your area on fire, and you have to get out of the way. So it's like a detriment. So you're trying to avoid your own destruction.
That's hilarious.
I think that would be intense.
Snail.
Yeah. We got to
Laser
keep right in
snail coming
the
soon.
madness
Great
hype
name.
train here. You do Maneater, Shark, It's time to go even wilder. Got to get the croc going.
Yeah.
Get the croc kills.
Dude, and then they team up for the next game, Damiani. Yes.
Like they call it Rampage. Rampager.
This
there
was
you go.
all an elaborate Rampage reboot.
Yeah, it is the biggest build up to a Rampage reboot.
Sick. Oh, I love that. They just have the Maneater 1 and then the big DLC, right? They never came out with Maneater 2?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right.
Okay, yeah.
A couple of things. Chat, Vic Rattler said Ratamari, like Ratamari from Katamari. They were saying also Sloth and Butterfly would be interesting for lasers.
Butterfly.
Yeah. Now I've got a few things in my head now, and I'm trying to think of like what's going to be the coolest. But I was thinking like a freaking eagle, because like there was.
You could do some damage as an eagle with lasers. Holy crap!
Yeah, because that's one of the things I was thinking. Like there's like I think it's like called a Haas seagull or whatever that was in New Zealand.
Blood-noses birds.
And the thing is it's extinct now, but it did cross over with when people moved there. And there are also like these big ostrich-like birds there called like moa. You know, it's like big, tall, like 7-foot birds.
Yeah.
And these eagles ate those birds.
Whoa.
And so if those eagles would eat those birds, then to me, it is very clear at some point those eagles probably ate a person.
Yeah.
They probably swooped down, grabbed a kid, and that's why those eagles are extinct.
It's terrifying. Holy crap.
The craziness of that. But just think about the fear of that. Like if a bird could just come down and grab you.
Yeah.
Like even like people with like small like dogs and stuff that are afraid of like hawks and like that just freaks me out.
Yeah.
The idea that like just a hawk could come out of nowhere and like, yep, your dog's gone, and like,
yeah,
holy crap. Like what would you couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. What could you do unless you had like a gun on you? Like there's no way. Like it's just gone.
Yeah.
Now you think about that, like big hawk come after you.
Lasers.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It's funny. Has the Maneater team done anything after Maneater?
I'm not sure what they're doing.
Let us know, chat. Let us know what they've done.
You could do the tragic laser story with an eagle too, because they can't release their hands without landing or whatever. So it's like it picked up a laser and now it can't put it down, and it's just like lasering everyone. And it's like, oh god, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you had those eagles in He-Man too.
There's a He-Man too.
There's quite a few He-Man things, but
I am
the original
unfamiliar with He-Man.
There was like an orange one on the good guy's side, and then a bad guy, the purple one on Skeletor's side.
Nice.
And you like squeezed the thing on their leg, and their wings flapped. But they were outfitted with like little mechanized backpacks. I think they could shoot.
Sick.
But yeah. From Brandon K. Gann. Hello, everyone. Inspired by a love and respect question from last week about boss fights, I wanted to pose a boss fight question of my own. What is the most satisfying cheese way that you've beaten a boss? Whether the method is inherent in the game's design,
oh baby,
or by circumventing the all-encompassing creator's intent. Some of my favorite examples of being part of the design are using a Phoenix down on undead bosses in certain Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And turning off the console and coming back a week later against the end in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, classic.
Or even sniping him well in advance to circumvent the fight entirely.
That one's crazy. Yeah.
That's a good one.
As far as an unintended way devs didn't account for, in Borderlands 2, the hardest fight in the game is against a creature called Terramorphous. And using a level 1 character on a second controller, there's a spot in the arena that makes it impossible to be hit. While using my primary character on the main controller does damage and eventually win. Crazy. So yeah, favorite cheeses.
Any summon in a Souls game?
Nice.
In Streets of Rage, if you like time your punches right, you can stun lock enemies. It works on like a couple bosses.
Oh yeah, yeah. That can be a thing in quite a few games.
Yeah.
You just get that timing right, and it's like, yep. You can't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite was Dark Souls 1, Ceaseless Discharge. You just run to the back and then run back to the door, and it just falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
They patched it eventually, but the dragon on the bridge very early in the game.
With the tail? Or
no, I just like walked over there and then like I got the souls. It just fell off and died.
That happened to me my first playthrough. It just died, and I was like nowhere near it, and all of a sudden I got like 20,000 souls or whatever, and I heard a dragon yelling, and I was like, what the fuck was that? But awesome. I mean, this is intended cheese, but like shooting the tail to get the Drake sword.
Oh
is like,
yeah,
all timer.
Yep. Even I had to equip a bow at that point.
But just in general, having any enemy just like basically kiting him to like coax him to fall off a cliff is pretty great.
Absolutely. All right, Damiani.
I don't think anyone got as angry as the cheese I used in Sekiro against Chained Ogre. That mini boss that appears on the stairs when you're trying to progress just comes down
you. I see it right now, 100%.
I found a wall you could scale where you could barely get on it, but like it won't let you go too far up it, but you can get on it and back up just enough where he couldn't get up there, and you just let him come over, do a well-timed jump attack, and sometimes it would land and hit him, and then he'd try and do his like combo on you or whatever to hit you, but you just back up. And I was just like kept doing that. And I remember someone in the comments going, this is not the way you play Sekiro. Why are you playing this?
You can cheese that. It's in the arena where you fight that horse boss the first time. But there's that like flaming thing that you can just get to jump off a cliff in Sekiro also.
I jumped across rooftops.
Yeah, the rooftop.
And like I was just like I get like whatever like I accidentally like overshot with my like jump attack. There would be like chat would be like, yes, he's gonna die, and I just run up another like onto a nearby building. They'd be like, no. They're like, how do you keep doing this? I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay above him and like never. It was so slow. It took like so long to beat him too. But I'm like, no damage. Let's go.
I remember I inadvertently discovered cheese on one of the hardest things in Bloodborne. At the end of Eileen the Crow's storyline, you fight that hunter, and he has, what is it called, the Chikage, or the blade that hurts you when you have it drawn in its the one mode.
Katana,
or yeah, whatever. It's whatever. Yeah. The Chaos Blade or whatever. But they patched this now. But back before patch, I was fighting him, and it does dots when he has it in bleed mode, because basically you like bleed yourself to do extra damage. And I ran down the stairs to heal, and then I was about to go back up and keep fighting him, and I noticed that his health bar was ticking down. So I just stopped and stood there, and he never came down the stairs, and I just waited until he died. and it was like the fucking like 10th time I tried him, and I was just like, oh, thank goodness, like get thee gone.
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few guys that I just like poisoned and let him bleed out.
Well,
yeah.
I also never looked a gift horse in the mouth when Radon glitched on me when I was just riding around on my horseback around Radon. I
remember this.
And Radon just went into like a loop of circling. I thought I just like, oh, cool. Like, is this just like a chase sequence? Because it was really hard to hit him. But I was like, oh, dear. Is this like, I thought there was like a time limit. I thought he was going to do something insane. But did that, and every other playthrough I went through and he got there, I was like, nope, that's not how it was supposed to go at all.
So I
was like, man, that boss is really easy. And everyone's like, that's a harder boss. I'm like, okay, why? And like you glitched on you. I'm like, okay.
Nice.
Damiani, in terms of quote unquote intentional cheeses, all time, the grappling beam in Super Metroid, the boss in Meridia.
Yes, it's on Fantoon.
Yeah, it's no, not Fantoon. It's the one after that. Whatever the underwater one is.
Yeah, whatever the thing is. Yeah, when you like break the electricity thing and do that. Sorry, I forget what it's called. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it's called.
It grabs you, and then you fire the grappling beam into the electrical socket, and because you're underwater, it just like fries them.
That's so good.
The Metroid, the accounting for sequence breakers getting to Kraid earlier in the newer one, and being able to do like that cheese strat, like they let you do it. That was kind of cool. I never did it, but like I saw like they accounted for that. That was like kind of cool. to let people do that. And was it Dread or was it the one before? I forget if it was Metroid 2 remake or
Beach
that.
trees.
I forget which one it was.
That was Dread.
I think it was Dread. Yeah. Pretty cool.
I shout out to like every boss in Demon Souls because like they've all got a gimmick. It's all it's intended.
Who's
but,
the
like,
one
it feels like
you? Was it Isla? Who was it you or Huber who kept shooting someone with poison arrows from above?
That's how you kill that big like. Oh, that was me. I remember that. That was the the girl.
That was pretty good.
The girl and the like her bodyguard. There's a spot you can stand. You can just shoot them with arrows, and they never come up. That's a good one.
And which game?
Demons.
Got it.
So fun.
Yeah, Garl.
It's time for bets. This week's bet: Sea of Thieves coming out on PlayStation.
Crazy.
PlayStation.
Next week, April 30th. Today at 4:30 in the afternoon, it had 4.2 thousand viewers on Twitch. I want to know how many will it have next week, about the same time, right before the podcast, right before we get going. Huber, Stealthy Centipede.
Just 11K.
11.
11. Triple. It's gonna triple. It's an old game.
Damiani, the pompous Cocker Spaniel. How many you say?
I said 7,000.
7,000.
Nice.
Isla, Wet Hummingbird.
He boxed me out. I said 6.6 thousand.
6.6.
6,600.
Dawn, the Fashionable Manatee.
He's swinging it around like a rusty gate. 5.8.
5.8.
He also drew a nice portrait of some cheese.
Nice. Gabby, Optimistic Rat.
10K.
10K. Getting up there with Huber.
Don't do it, Blood.
And then me, Effervescent Hippopotamus, 6.3. I'm boxed.
Damn
in.
it!
I'm right in the middle of that little mess.
I'm the most boxed.
We're together. We're boxed
We're both
together.
I thought I was gonna be low, and I'm gonna come high. That's crazy.
Last week's bet, we just talked about Another Crab's Treasure.
Yeah.
Cool game.
Yeah. Don't skip.
Last week I asked a simple question. Out of the top 10 English reviews on OpenCritic, how many times would I find the word crab? Plural counts.
Crazy bet.
Title counts. Huber bet 38. Damiani bet 55. Isla bet 64. Don bet 55 as well. Gabby bet 30. And I bet 43. IGN used it 18 times.
Oh my god, here we go.
PC Gamer used it 15 times. GameSpot 13 times. The Sixth Access 7 times. Rock Paper Shotgun 17 times. Windows Central 14 times. Push Square just 8 times. Slant Magazine 11 times. Digital Trends 27 times.
Woo.
And PC Mag 22 times. So the answer, altogether, 152 crabs.
Wow.
Hey, it's like the Pokemon. 151 plus Mewtwo, 152.
So Isla was the high at 64, about almost like 90 behind.
Jeez.
Hot streak. I feel like it's 2 in a row or 3 in a row.
I did. Yeah, I think I
2 in a
won
row,
last
yeah.
time. Wow.
So that brings our top 2 scores to Stealthy Centipede 6. Effervescent Hippopotamus 4. And Wet Hummingbird coming up with 3.
Yay.
Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. Everything that we do here is because wonderful people just like yourself pitch in and contribute every month to keep Easy Allies going and keep this show on the road. You can support us either through one-time donations in that link underneath of the Twitch player or in the YouTube video description. You can give a Twitch sub and support us that way. But the most effective way to support us is on Patreon with a monthly pledge. At $5 a month, you get this podcast 2 days early. You get it ad-free. You get 2 bonus love and respect questions. Sometimes those can go on for a good while. I think, like last week or something, like it was like a 20-minute extra Love and Respect conversation. And you get in our Discord where you can vote on the top 10s and all that fun stuff. We're going to be going over top 10 next week, those top 10 fighting game supers.
Yes.
So
I'm excited for that one.
Get in there, get voted, and then get yelled at on this podcast.
Not every time.
Not every time.
Sometimes we praise.
Yeah.
At the $10 level, you get to be on our contributor tier, and you get to submit to our community showcase and stream team. And then $25 and up are our producer tiers. $50, you get that fan mail, which I need every one of you to give me. I send those out once a month. We all either write a thing or record a thing, whatever. Isla usually has some crazy photo or video of something going on.
Aha.
And then our platinum producers get a shout out on this podcast each and every week. This month's shout outs go to Javawabs, Elthanis, Raymond Wheeler III, and Forever Ender. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
I cut to myself early.
That would be cool to take Easy Allies on the road, Blood.
On the road?
Yeah, you're like, keep the show on the road.
We're on the road.
No, I mean like a traveling podcast across the country.
Sure.
It'd be sick.
Promotions, some things to check out. Again, my Tales of Kenzera Zao review. Got a chance. Finding a strategy for when I can fit a review in right now is tricky. It's like, okay, obviously a game that I'm interested in and want to cover, but then also like I need enough lead time to want to try to like get the thing done and hit embargo. Zao, EA gave me enough time. So and a shorter game too, that helps.
Sick.
Not some 50-hour crazy game.
Yeah.
So I could get through rather quickly. Yeah, a lot of those. But yeah, we were even able to get that done before the weekend.
Sick.
Had it all ready to go.
What's a weekend?
What is a weekend?
Damiani, you had a solo queue last week.
I sat down with a person named Kyle Bossman. Some of you may have heard of him. Because he recently finished Final Fantasy VII. And been a lot of hype on Final Fantasy VII, a lot of theory crafting, but I wanted a more down-to-earth, kind of like realistic approach to the game's ending.
Speaking my language, dude. It's getting a little too out of control for me.
And the feelings on that, and like, just kind of like to sift through the madness. But yeah, if you want to meet the creator of the internet, Kyle Bossman, and as well as the person who thinks I now have an accent because of a foil and folding and getting that like usage correct. That's one of the many things we talk about in the 2 hours. I don't think there was any food talk. There might have been. I can't promise. I forgot already. There could be food talk in there. I can't promise.
I would bet.
Can't
You should
promise
check it
a
out.
negative.
I would bet there is.
We talk about what would make Final Fantasy sell more as well, to sell more copies. We had a little bit of a debate on that too.
Sick. We also, this week's group stream, we did a Lethal Company with crowd control on.
Yeah.
So much fun.
That took a minute to figure out, but yeah, people dropping in random stuff, giving us jetpacks, and then Don coming back from his jetpack adventure telling us, I flew into Google Maps, and nobody believing him. And so they gave us more jetpacks for Isla and Huber to go up. And then, like, sure enough, some crazy photograph of a street up there.
It's weird.
And
I think I know the reason behind it, but yeah.
It's just because the cloud. They're using the clouds, but the rest of the photo is in there if you go high enough.
Yeah, it's I think the default skybox background for Unity or something.
That's so funny.
Oh, that's even funnier. Wild. So yeah, check out that stream. And then next week we're going to be playing that Demon Slayer Mario Party-esque board game thing. It'll be wild.
Sick. And Extreme G.
And Extreme G.
Yes.
Before that, yep.
Yes.
All right, Isla. Because you won that bet, you get to shout out anything or anyone that's on your mind this week. You get the final word, and you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Shout out to my wife, Sophia. She's been feeling under the weather.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope she's feeling better now. Starting to. Shout out. Feel better, baby girl. Final word.
Consider Meef.
I consider Meef all hours of the day, Blood. It's all I think about. Final word. Just unbrace. Yeah, unbrace it. That was chat. Chat said unbrace during the thing, and I thought that was really funny. Good night and good game.
Puritanical Bloodworth outfits if you're vibing that.
The Easy Allies would like to thank our Patreon podcast producers. We apologize in advance for all the ally names we are about to misspell and mispronounce. Jabawabs, Elphanis, Forever Ender, Raymond Wheeler III, Bradley Spees, Jay Shee, Jesper Popmel Dufay, Roy Sung. 44 stars, Alexander Zirianov, Andri, Aurelien Grenier, Beaten Down Brian, Brandon White, Brian Kruger, Colton Piccione, Daniel Martinek, Dimitri Zidis, Douglas Chomich, Faraz Rizvi, Garrett Holfish, G. Levin, Hayden Hargraves, Jesse Blue, Jesus R., Matthew Pauling, Miguel Rivas, Mo Grant, Paul Sway, Ronka Q, Robert Stoffel, Sage Mode Q, Sam Handrick, Stomps, Stepan Hakobian, The Banana Forklift Killer, Chom Nguyen, Zigazich, Anish Dor, Aaron Haney, Accounts Payable, Adam Henry, Aldrich, Alex Monaco, Alex Stories, Alexander Sheck, Anacroth, Anthony F., Anthony Galvin, Anthrioni, Antonio Coyne, Arthur Lau, Osteal, Barry Tomasini, Bob Starling, Brian Foster, Bunny Chen, C.S. Lewis, Katie Garza, Carlos Delgato, Cassandra McKee, Chief Uhu, Chris Eccles, Christopher Santis, Clay Roberts, Colin Montot, Connell Sumlin, Corey Jackson, Corey Landega, Crumb Eyes, Culinary Stud, Cyberboa, Dan Sebring, Daniel Kozlowski, Daniel Wong, David Aniki, Edison S. Prada Jr., Enya Hink, Eric Tobias, Eric, Espen Gotchman, Ethereal Ether, Fishflop, Forrest, Froject, Gabriel Aberg, Gabriel Smith, Jen Woofles, Gino Elite, Gustav Strombaum, Harrison Holt McHale, I Sun Chor, Ian Anderson, Jack Forrest, Jan Nicholas Frogshirt Tilk, Gerald, Jesse Fish, Jesse Wilkeson, John McCullough, Junya Motomura, Carl Williams, Keegan Boyle, Kevin Gillet, Kroldemort, Leif, Leon Keys, Linson Wu, Lister, Luis Ibarra, Lying Crown 19, Marco Hernandez, Materia Addict, Matthias Clare, Max Miller, Mazrim Tame, Megadet, Miguel, Mr. Anarchy, Nefertiti Jenkins, Nycrypt, Nick Hill Sharma, Ninja Kitty Meow, Ono Turtle, Orugachino, Pablo Rodriguez, Patrick Held, Pete Shoemaker, Pixelated, Pulphead, Ray Aldiar, Reed Johnson, Richard Ma, Ritz 1906, Robert Seven Lee, Robin, Ryan Rutger, Salvers, Samuel Copeland, SD Prima, Sebastian Trier, Servino, Sean Johnstone, Cito, Sneaky Gato, Splontot, Snake 24, Stone Soup VT, Strikeout NZ, Sultab, Tadashi 047, Taffy 9K, Tim Strothman, This Is My Username 1466, Tomovi Kioni, Travis Ing, Trizac, Wouter DeHaze, Yami Zetsumi, Zach Wojnar.